Chapter 481. Inexperience. Run to the second floor, Felice shouted as the madam realized what she planned to do. Since the four shattered the window and flew to the garden before crashing to the wall, she should have some time to spare. She grabbed the sword and cut the rope that tied her hands while saying, "Go upstairs. Sonia, protect them." Felice didn't bother to wait for them and used her telekinetic ability to half the children and flew them to the stairs so they could go as soon as possible. At the same time, she grabbed her device and called Arnaud's number. Arnaud picked it up immediately, but Felice stopped him and said only a few words in a hurry. "The orphanage and Julia Campbell are attacked. Help." Without wasting her time, she tried to hang up the call, but soon a fireball flew at her, almost hitting her. Luckily, the madam managed to react and used a magic shield to block the fire while shouting, "Kids, hurry up!" Sonia also helped them as the children were crying while moving their bodies. They all ran upstairs under Sonia's guidance before the madam said, "Felice, you should go upstairs too. The reinforcements should be coming soon. I will handle all four of them." Felice furrowed her eyebrows and shook her head. "If I run away here, I won't have any face to see my future teacher. I know your ability is strong, but don't get too close. You have never fought against anyone, let alone elites. Just make sure you don't go to the front and try to launch them away like earlier," the madam said. "Yes, I will try to stop two of them while madam handles the other two. After that, madam can help me," Felice suggested. "According to Big Brother Kai, it's going to end within 10 minutes. So, that's not just a mere call?" As the madam uttered that question, she stepped forward, finding the four people had returned to the hall. "You." The guy released his killing intent. Felice's body was shaken since she never felt anything like this. This was the first time she felt death before the madam patted her shoulder while shouting, "Ha!" That shout shook her heart and made her forget the killing intent for a while, allowing her to adjust herself. "You're not an ordinary caretaker." The guy realized something from the madam and squinted his eyes. "You don't need to know. Even though my battle sense is grown dull, I am still tough enough to take care of you." The madam snorted and raised both swords. Before anyone started, Felice activated her magic again. The blue magic circle behind her created a strong force to push the four people back, but they somehow stood on their feet. The magic managed to push them 2 meters away, but it didn't launch them anymore. Felice clenched her teeth, knowing that her magic wasn't strong enough. Even so, she didn't stop there. She lifted all the items in the room, whether it was a carpet or a wardrobe. She launched all of them to overwhelm the enemies, but one of the women actually appeared between them and waved her hand to the side, blowing away all the incoming items to the side of the house. "What a useful ability. So, you are an unorthodox magic user too." The woman smiled and looked at the girl. The madam already knew about her magic, but she didn't know how capable she was using it, so she got slightly worried and went between them to avoid any harm to Felice. Felice, who got more protection, decided to use a stronger force than earlier and tried to grab the woman, squeezing her tightly. The woman felt the magic power that tried to crush her, as if there was a giant hand grabbing her, and quickly let out a burst of wind that blew the magic particles away and freed herself from Felice's grasp. "That girl is dangerous. Catch her alive. She will be useful in the future," the guy commanded as he focused on the madam. His instinct told him not to underestimate her, so he didn't dare to look away for a moment. "Felice, you should go to the second floor to avoid any conflict. It's not a matter of impressing Kai Carter. It's something else." "Madam, please let me be selfish this once." Felice shook her head and raised her hand. Seeing her determination, the madam understood and let her do it. While they talked, one of the women raised her hand and summoned a fireball. A magic circle appeared on Felice's hand before the fireball suddenly hit something invisible. It was Felice's barrier that she formed by using her telekinetic power. The guy shouted, "I will handle the older one with mirth. The rest of you handle the kid. If possible, capture her." "Roger." The madam wouldn't let him and charged at them, but the guy already arrived in front of her and hit his hand that suddenly turned black as if covered by metal. The madam tried to strike him, but realized that his hands were too strong when the blade actually didn't do any damage, though she wasn't sure whether it was metal or not, because she could clearly feel the soft texture of his hand despite its hardness against the blade. When she was about to abandon her blade, knowing that fighting against all these guys in this area gave her no advantage while exposing Felice to danger. The fire magician girl already appeared next to her, fire covering her fist. The madam summoned a magic shield to block the fire, but it allowed the other two to make their way to Felice. Because of the danger that Felice gave, the wind user raised her hand and created a wind spiral that tried to blow her away. However, Felice used the telekinetic barrier again before pointing her hand to the side, facing the giant couch next to her. She launched the couch at the wind user before her friend came between them while kicking the couch back. Instead of stuffing knowledge and playing with this boring life, I should have trained my power and understood it more. Felice regretted she didn't meet Kai earlier and gained the spark of determination to get stronger and live a fulfilling life. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret. She saw the woman that just kicked the couch leap toward her, trying to catch her with both hands, so Felice went to the side while using her telekinetic ability. However, she did something different this time. Instead of stopping the woman, she boosted her speed so she would lose her timing. Felice knew that her power wasn't strong enough to stop her, so she chose this way to avoid her attack while making her way to confront the wind user. What? Ta-yi. The female widened her eyes in shock as she looked at Felice, thinking, did she just boost my own speed and momentum to dodge it? She remembered that her speed increased and threw her off balance as Felice passed them to fight against the wind magician. She leaped to her and released all her telekinetic power and directed it to the female magician. The latter formed a powerful wind ball on her hand and tried to counter Felice's ability by blowing the power away. But Felice's telekinetic power was far stronger than her. Wind, the magic particles that bound to each other due to her telekinetic power, didn't get blown away, and Felice managed to launch her to the corner of the room with her back hitting the wall. When Felice was about to turn around to handle the enemy on her back, the woman released another wind tornado. Felice widened her eyes and gritted her teeth as she formed a spherical, invisible barrier to block the wind. Obviously, she reinforced it with all her power to make sure she could block it. Unfortunately for Felice, her lack of experience as a magician showed at this moment. Even though her power was strong, there was no way Felice would have realized that the wind was just a distraction for the woman behind her to arrive behind her. It shattered the barrier in an instant with her powerful strength. And when Felice realized it, everything was already over. Her mind was jolted by an immeasurable pain as she spat a mouthful of blood. With her face looking down, she finally saw a hand piercing the side of her stomach, covered with her blood. Regret instantly filled her face as she couldn't help but think, I see it's impossible for me to become his student. Chapter 482, Pissed Off Felice. The madam widened her eyes and tried to help Felice, only to be stopped by the man. Meanwhile, the two that fought Felice walked to her and saw her dropping to the ground as blood began to dye the floor. Shh, this girl made us. When the wind user was about to say something, the wind blew her hair before she sensed another person behind her. It was Jules's son, the current head of the Campbell family, Bastien Campbell. He glared at the woman while asking, she made you what? The two sucked a cold breath as the room temperature dropped. No one could react when this man appeared, and when they were about to see his face to confirm his identity, the latter already grabbed both women's heads. Ice began to appear on top of their heads and slowly moved to their neck. At the same time, the two struggled and somehow managed to catch a glimpse of his face. Bastien Camp. Before she spoke, Bastien used all his strength on his hand and shattered the ice, including her head. Meanwhile, he froze the other one for further investigation. The guy recognized Bastien, but the latter had already disappeared. The moment he realized, Bastien was already behind her and slammed both the guy and the fire user's heads to the ground while freezing them. All of you are bastards who pick a fight with children. After that, he made his way to Felice and lifted her up to check her condition. It turned out, Felice was still awake and fighting against her wound. The blood on the floor was the necessary blood to fool them, while she used her telekinetic power to create a small barrier that prevents blood from coming out. Although he wanted to praise this little girl for doing such a thing, he quickly asked, "Put away your hand. I will freeze the wound first, and we will go to the hospital." Felice nodded and retracted the barrier. The blood ended up spurting out of the wound for a split second, but Bastien froze it instantly. He then looked at the madam. "In 1 minute, my subordinates will be here. If any of these guys show any sign of waking up, kill them. We have enough people to interrogate anyway. The madam nodded, and Bastide quickly carried Felice to the hospital with her speed. After her stomach went numb, she opened her eyes and looked at Bastien. Mister, there is another hostage. Don't worry. I have sent my wife and Elite there. They should be able to finish it soon. Bastien assured her that everything was going to be all right. I should praise you for calling Arnaud, or I won't realize it for another few hours. I am just following Big Brother Kai's advice, Felice answered. Her face was pale and her tone was weak, but she didn't get any weaker than the previous one. I see. That's good. For now, I will let the hospital heal you, and since the situation is not over yet, I will protect you in the hospital. This can be one of the repayments for strengthening my daughter. Bastien smiled. Don't say anything so as to not waste any energy and stay awake. I'm sure Kai Carter will be proud of you. Felice followed his instruction and remained silent until they reached the hospital. Meanwhile, at another location, Bastien's wife, Regine Campbell, had also found Julia and opened her lock as the elites swept the entire place clean. Julia, do you know anything about this kidnapping? Who are they? Regine asked with a cold expression. I am sorry, madam. No need to say sorry. Just answer my question for now, because I'm afraid the situation is not that simple. Regine shook her head. Julia began to tell her about what happened during the call and such, before realizing that Arnaud's call must have come from someone in the orphanage who managed to take advantage of the situation. Regine couldn't help but smile as she said, It seems a genius attracts another genius. Not only the teacher, but the student will soon become a teacher as well. Julia didn't understand what she meant, but didn't ask anything. Anyway, the rescue operation was successful, and I don't think you should go anywhere for the time being, Julia. The condition is unstable right now, especially in the Union. Many people are taking advantage of this situation to do something against Kai Carter, or the people he knows. Regine narrowed her eyes before letting out a long sigh, feeling the headache just thinking about this matter. Julia repeatedly nodded. I know, madam. I won't do anything outside. That's good. In any case, this will create a certain big movement in the Union. It's better to watch it from the sideline instead of getting entangled with it. Regine smiled and shrugged. Anyway, let's go home. The others will handle the rest. Julia agreed as he followed Regine outside. Meanwhile, in Latvia, Kai finally arrived at the ambush zone where he located 50 people standing on top of the cliff, staring at him. The people above wore a formal black suit and black sunglasses, looking at him with a serious expression. Who are you? Kai shouted at the woman, and, at the same time, called all those people. It seems your brain is good for welfare only, not for something like this. You're pitiful. The woman squinted her eyes and snorted. She chuckled and continued, Do you think we will give you our identity? Kai fell silent as the woman said, All we want is the method to get stronger. Give it to use right now unless you want the children and that little maid to die. Before that. The woman looked at 2 women and 1 man, signaling them to come down. At the same time, she grabbed Kai's weapon as she pushed him forward. Kai knew that this woman wanted the 3 people to beat him up first. It seems that you're not going to play this quietly. Kai narrowed his eyes and glared at the woman. Your head is already too high. We need to lower you first before executing you. Then we will release the video to the world, making them know our power. The woman laughed. And you're going to use my method to rule the world. Kai gritted his teeth. It seems you're not that foolish. Now, you are going to choose whether you want to save all the children or the entire world. I wonder what your little lover will see if you abandon the children to save the world. The woman made an evil grin as she was excited to see what kind of face he would make. She then looked at the 3 and said, You 3, beat him up for me. Yes. The 3 nodded and came closer. If you make a move, we will kill the children immediately. The woman smirked. Kai kept glaring at her before turning around to see the other 3 when they arrived in front of him. You? Are you going to beat me up? You won't be able to beat me. Kai appeared to be arrogant as he looked down on these 3. The guy didn't like his tone and raised his hand. Then, I will show you how I beat you right now. No, you won't be able to beat me. When he saw the man's fist, Kai quickly lowered his head and leaped into the air. His eyes widened as the veins on his forehead bulged, showing his anger. He used his new magic on his boot and kicked the man's head. The force was so strong that it sent the man's head flying to the air without its body. At the same time, he used the second foot to kick the two women, showing the same result. He then grabbed his swords back and slashed the woman's feet. "Arch!" the woman screamed, but none of them could react as they saw Kai killing 3 of them. The woman fell to the ground before Kai ordered, "Rosalind, you kill all the people on the left. Sophia, make sure she doesn't die or commit suicide. You bastard, the children will die because of your choice." The woman shouted in anger while enduring the excruciating pain. "No, I'm saving them." Kai snorted and waved his sword toward the cliff on the right, releasing his sonokinetic blade. It was so sharp that it cut the cliff diagonally before a huge shockwave destroyed the remaining connection the cliff had. A portion of the cliff fell from that single slash, engulfing 10 people in the rubble. Releasing his killing intent, Kai said, "I'm pissed off right now." Chapter 483, Massacre. Wah! The woman couldn't think of anything, especially under the excruciating pain after Kai sliced her 2 legs. Sophia grabbed her shoulders and froze the legs to prevent any more blood loss. Kill him! Kill him! Tell the others to kill the hostages too," the woman uncontrollably shouted before Sophia put an ice gag on her mouth, shutting her up. At the same time, the ones working behind the scenes for these people quickly did according to the order, only to find the rest had either died or got captured. "We can't reach them. They are dead. Our base has been raided by the Campbell family." Chaos began to spread among them as they didn't realize Rosalind had reached the cliff, climbing it in an instant by using her wind power. When they noticed Rosalind's presence and turned around, the latter already raised her sword and charged forward. Wind step. With the burst of wind below her feet, she leaped toward them and slashed the first guy with her sword. Obviously, the people around here were elites, so they managed to react to her before more casualties. But Rosalind wanted to prevent them from escaping. She raised her sword as a huge tornado formed from her sword. She took 1 step to the left and waved her sword from the left, sweeping the people on the cliff to the ground below. This way, the people wouldn't be able to climb the cliff easily and escape, since the only way to escape was from the front, where Kai and Sophia waited for them. Yes, to execute him. The woman seemed to have chosen the bell-shaped cliff that only had 1 entrance. Unfortunately for her, it was used against her. What is she? How can she wield such a powerful and large magic? Is this the power from the mysterious method? The people began to panic and excited at the same time, witnessing Rosalind's change with their own eyes. Their greed started to take over their mind, thinking if they could get this method, they would be able to get this strong and become an S-rank magician themselves. And due to this exact reason, Arba erased Rosalind and Sophia's memories to prevent any leaks. Only Kai was qualified to store this information in his mind since he was the king. Even if he messed up, the one who could fix it was only him. With them having another intention to Kai, wanting to get the method by themselves, they turned around only to find Kai had disappeared, leaving only the woman and Sophia. Where is he? They tried to find him, but to no avail. Kai had disappeared using his sound blast to reach the bottom of the cliff and go around them. As soon as he could ambush them, he matched his movement with Rosalind, who seemed to plan to swipe them to the bottom of the cliff too. "Stop that girl first. As long as we can take that girl hostage, we can win. The ones who have fallen to the bottom are to capture Sophia Campbell." The group began to reorganize themselves with Kai's method in their mind. They couldn't wait to get stronger within a short period of time using that method. Unfortunately for them, Rosalind had swept another 20 people to the bottom of the cliff. Kai then appeared from behind and ran toward them. With their attention grabbed by Sophia and Rosalind, Kai used his sound insulation magic to isolate a few people and assassinate them without any sound. Suddenly, Rosalind jumped to the ground, planning to help Sophia. And at that time, one of them realized Kai had been butchering their comrades for a while. "Behind us! It's Kai Carter. He has killed more than 10 of us," the woman shouted, informing the rest. Kai used their confusion for a bit longer and killed another 4 people by using his sound blast to reach their position in an instant. When he couldn't take advantage of his situation anymore, Kai raised his swords and stared at them with a cold tone. "You're going to die here. How about you play rock, paper, scissors to see who wins the lottery to be kept alive? You. Capture him. He is strong, but he is still alone. That's right. There are still 40 of us here. Even if we can't do anything, As long as the remaining guys capture the other two, we will win. Fight. Fight? Kai furrowed his eyebrows and slashed his sword diagonally, using his sono-kinetic blade once again. When they saw the moving air that was visible to the force Kai used to bind them together, they shouted, "It's that technique again. Be careful. That attack can cut a cliff." The group panicked for a moment, knowing there was no way they could withstand such a technique. They tried to dodge it, but some of them didn't have time to avoid it. Kai used the fact that they were in the air to his advantage by advancing forward, cutting them down without resistance. No. His supersonic sword was too powerful for a normal weapon to challenge it. The swords cut all their weapons along with their body. This was also the reason why Kai never used his supersonic sword or vibration sword against his girls. He simply knew that no weapon made by man could withstand it, unless they were made from the special metal that his teacher created. It was also the metal that he used to withstand this powerful vibration and sonic boom. He began to cut them down one by one like a devil who didn't know any mercy. The enemies began to fear Kai's power as their confidence disappeared after Kai cut 15 of them. The same applied to the woman who witnessed such a scene. She had brought 100 elites that could withstand S-rank magician like Jules and Arnaud for some time if they were together, but Kai simply broke the logic of S-rank magician and killed them like slaughtering chickens. She then turned to the people below them that got separated into two. Those who handled Rosalind got blown away to the cliff, and, as expected from the cliff, there were many sharp rocks or spikes that killed or severely injured the people she launched at them. Only some of them managed to escape such a predicament and thought about escaping after seeing their comrades' fate. There was still one hope. It was Sophia. She simply raised her hand and summoned a huge blue-colored magic circle. She poured her magic power into the magic circle and released it. Freezing world. The moment the magic was activated, the ground and anything above it froze. It created a fan-shaped area and engulfed all the people that tried to attack her. Some of them managed to react by jumping into the air, but it just became a VIP seat for them to watch how their friends who got frozen died. A wind suddenly flew to their locations and engulfed these frozen statues, throwing them in all directions. When they hit any hard surface, they shattered into pieces before the blood began to flow again, now that some parts of their body were exposed to the air. The woman looked at Sophia, terrified. The power behind that method was indeed great, but Kai and the two women were simply too strong for them. In that instant, she realized they could never get the method from Kai directly. Their strategy of getting hostages was right, but the woman couldn't think of the reason why it failed. She simply was unaware of the secret conversation Kai and Felice had earlier. Seeing the remaining people in the air, Sophia raised her hand and pointed it at them. They were scared of the magic circle and knew they couldn't avoid it since they were in the air. Some of them had saved themselves by using their magic like wind magic or any other magic that could push them out of her vision, but the rest could only stare at her helplessly. Circulation, ice magic, ice dragon. The dragon head emerged from the magic circle and opened its mouth. This time, its body extended so it could reach all those people. But what made them shocked was the fact that the magic could actually open its jaw as if it was alive. It was the first time they saw it. In other words, Kai actually possessed something that was far more dangerous than getting stronger alone. He had the knowledge to change the entire world. The two girls also understood its importance and never showed it to the world to avoid future problems according to Kai's instruction. It was never magic, but mystic, and in mystic, it was normal for them to manipulate the direction of their own magic, and Sophia's ice dragon was just another magic. She simply manipulated its direction to look like the dragon opened its mouth. Without them realizing, Kai and the two girls had killed 70 of them in the span of 5 minutes, as if they were just a bunch of chickens waiting to be slaughtered. Not wanting to die, the people began to run away in all directions. "I don't want to die. No, save me. They're monsters." Unfortunately for them, Rosalind had knocked them to this bell-shaped cliff, so even if they wanted to leave, they didn't have any alternative other than slipping past Sophia. And yes, it was another invitation to hell. Kai, on the other hand, kept killing the people while maintaining his focus on the surroundings. He didn't want anyone to escape, since he would truly put his life at risk at that time. It also meant he couldn't keep his promise to not let anyone know about it, and revealed his true identity to those from the sea. The rest were quickly killed by the three, leaving only the woman and 3 other people among them to be interrogated. Chapter 484: Handling the Situation. After taking control of the entire situation, Kai asked Rosalind and Sophia to keep an eye on those people as he walked a bit farther away to ask Felicie and the others the result of their operation. He took out his device and dialed Felicie's device to check on her, only to find Bastien appearing on the screen. Kai furrowed his eyebrows and tilted his head in confusion. Sir Bastien? Yay, it's me. Why are you? Kai suddenly understood what was going on and became serious, asking, Is Felice okay? She just entered the operation room not long ago. What is her condition? Kai widened his eyes and subconsciously shouted, I am not sure. The enemy pierced through the side of her stomach with her hand, making a quite big hole there. She had used her magic to stabilize her condition until I could help her and bring her to the hospital. But Kai drew a gasp as he quickly replied, I'm going to call Evan right now. She knew you're going to do that and asked me to tell you to avoid calling Evan Young to this place. Why? Why? Kai gritted his teeth. She told me if you sent Evan Young here, she would become the center of attention because you had asked your friend to help a normal orphan girl. That way, it would be hard for her to leave this place because of the attention, since the union will interfere. It's better than a matter of life and death, Kai shouted in anger. Kai Carter, I know this is hard for you, but how about you believe in her? She has been doing anything to become your student. Like always, you need to be calm. He clenched his teeth and said, No. I'm going to call him right now. Wait. Before Bastien could stop him, Kai had already hung up and called Arnaud instead of Evan. When Arnaud's voice rang in his ears, Kai hurriedly asked in a menacing tone, leaving no room for question or objection, I need Rena Alberona's number right now. Arnaud had never heard him talking like that and thought something must have happened. He instinctively replied, All right, I will give you her number. Kai then hung up as Arnaud sent him contact information. Kai didn't waste even a second and called Rena immediately. Rena appeared on her screen in the middle of the battlefield, making the background sound a bit loud. She looked at him, confused. What do you need from me? I want you to call Evan Young right now to heal Felice. Huh? Did the girl get injured? But if it's only a small injury, then you won't. Rena looked at Kai's expression again and understood what was going on. She looked down for a moment and nodded. I see. So you want me to call him because it could be interpreted as a call from a tutor. The same applies to Felice since I'm going to accept her later. We can camouflage her importance with Arnaud and Rosalind. Your daughter should be happy to see him too. Kai narrowed his eyes, seeing the reward while implying that she better called him right away. Knowing what he wanted, Rena nodded and hung up before calling another number. In the US base, Evan, who was mingling with his guns, raised his head when he found an incoming call. He checked it and took a step back, wondering if he should take it. However, he took a deep breath and picked it up, asking, Yes? Can I help you? I need you to heal a person for me. Can you go to the EU base right now? She will be in the middle of the operation at that time, but you should be able to heal her in an instant. Evan narrowed his eyes and scratched the back of his head. Kai Carter is the one who requested it. All right, I will go right away. Evan's attitude drastically changed when he heard Kai wanted to heal someone. There might be Sophia or someone important, so he would surely go there immediately if that person asked him, wanting to repay just a little bit of everything he had given to him. Even Rena was shocked by the sudden change but cared no more. Anyway, I will send you the hospital location. If you want to know something, it's better to wait for Kai Carter to explain it to you. All right. Evan nodded and searched for an airplane ticket. He booked one which was only 30 minutes away from the departure as he quickly came out of the school. Michelle was confused about his action and asked, Wait a minute, Evan, what happens? The captain wants me there to heal someone. Probably someone important. He shrugged and left immediately. Anyway, I need to catch up on the plane right now. Oh? Michelle was still confused, but didn't stop him anymore, since Kai was the one behind it. She pondered for a moment and decided to call Kai to see whether he would answer or not. Surprisingly, Kai's face appeared on the screen as he was in the middle of nowhere. Kai, what happened? Where are you? I just finished handling a little problem. Kai let out a long sigh, feeling tired of getting angry all the time. He was anxious, but he had done everything he could. Do you need any help? Well, if I'm with Tasha, I will teleport Evan to here immediately, but unfortunately, she is on the battlefield. What happened? It's rare for you to be flustered. Well, how do I explain this? Kai gently stroked his cheek while contemplating his choice of words. Let's just say that I am thinking about picking a student here. Student? As in the school student. Are you going to kidnap this student to the US base? It seems there is an otherworldly beauty there. Kai closed his eyes and shook his head helplessly. No, it's like me and Professor Ria. Ah. Michelle nodded in understanding before her eyes opened as wide as possible. She became even more shocked that Kai wanted to bring a student, especially from the EU base. Eh? What did you say again? A student? Yeah? Just say that I'm interested in this girl and see her potential, and she happened to be injured. Looking at your expression, it seems to be fatal injuries. Michelle squinted her eyes and remembered Evans storming out of the school so quickly. He even used his physical abilities to arrive at the airport faster. Yeah, that's why I want him to be here. Kai nodded. Well, Professor Rio will surely be overjoyed by this news. Who would think Kai Carter is interested in someone not as his woman, but his student? She smiled. The student has become a teacher now. Kai only brushed it off with a laugh, since he hadn't finalized their student and teacher relationship. So, do you need any help? No. I'm going to handle this alone, and I just want to make sure that you're going to see hell after my return. Kai chuckled. Oi, oi! What kind of hell are you saying? Are you surely frustrated there? No, you must have heard about Sophia and Roslyn, right? She recalled there was an announcement of the sudden appearance of new S-rank magicians. And Sophia was indeed among the two. She furrowed her eyebrows and said, That's related to you? Yeah, and now I'm dealing with that mess. Kai nodded and said, Anyway, I can't say much regarding this matter since it's better for you to be oblivious about it right now to avoid more problems. There are only 2 months left, so wait for me there. I understand. Michelle nodded with a serious expression before asking, Well, there are many things I want to ask, but I guess you have your own problems. I will trust you on this. Do you want to say something to the others? Nah, it's fine. If I continue this call any longer, I'm afraid it will be tracked. So, I'm ending it here. Just say I miss them, and don't tell them about this conversation yet.
Okay, I miss you too.
She smiled. Love you. See you in 2 months. Love you too. Kai smiled and finally ended the call. He took a deep breath, calming his heart down. After a while, he turned around, saw Sophia and Rosalind in the distance, and walked to them. The moment he arrived, the atmosphere was filled with killing intent. Even the woman shuddered under his killing intent that seemed to have killed tens of thousands of monsters. It was just different. She raised her head in panic, but couldn't move due to Sophia's ice. The ice locked her hands and feet before planting it on the ground. Kai bent his knees and grabbed the woman's hair, looking at her coldly. Now that the situation has been under control, I somehow need to vent my anger, so you're perfect. I don't personally like doing it, but since you've gone too far, then I guess it's fine. Chapter 485. Story. The next day, Felice gradually opened her eyes as she remembered everything in an instant. When her eyes were wide open, she stared at the ceiling with a blank stare and tried to move her body. Surprisingly, she could move her body to the point she would feel no pain. Not believing what she just experienced, she quickly got up from the bed and felt nothing at all. This was impossible. Even if she woke up 1 year later and her wound had already healed up and her body would become too weak to do this kind of movement, that was when she learned Kai must have the #1 healer in the world, Evan Young. She looked left and right to see that person, only to find the madam sitting next to her.
Ma!
The madam shook her head to stop her from saying anything. She waved her hand, wanting to explain the situation first and preventing Felice from doing anything excessive, even though she knew Felice had recovered and that her waking up was as normal as waking up in the morning. I know that you're confused, but I will explain everything to you, so get back to bed. Otherwise, I won't say anything, the madam said while helping her lie down. Felice didn't fight her since she knew the madam well. If she refused, she truly wouldn't get an answer for at least a few hours. Anyway, After you were taken to the operating room, Kai Carter contacted you, only for the call to be picked up by Sebastian Campbell. He explained everything, including your refusal of treatment from Evan Young. Because of that, he called Ma'am Rena Alberona to have her request Evan Young's assistance. It turned out he had once visited this place to learn from Ma'am Rena. Everything should be fine with that excuse. Do you understand? Felice closed her eyes and realized she was still not matched with him. He used such a way around just to call Evan Young. That way, he respected my wish while still helping me at the same time. Felice closed her eyes with a bitter expression. Tears started falling from the corner of her eyes as she said with a bitter tone, "In the end, he is the one doing everything." "No, Felice." The madam shook her head and stroked her hair. "You have done half of it. Without your help and your secret signal, everything won't go this smoothly. Of course, I am assured that such a person takes care of you. Even if my little Felice goes to the US base, I won't need to worry since she will be taken care of." Felice smiled before letting out a long sigh. "I want to get stronger. I wish I trained my power this whole time instead of wasting my time inside my room. You have all the time you need. Take one step at a time, and you will find yourself achieving your dreams soon. After all, I know that my Felice is the world's smartest child." Felice smiled. "Thank you. Now it's time for you to rest for a bit, okay?" "Yes." Felice nodded before remembering another matter. "That's right. Where is Evan Young? I would like to thank him for saving me." "He?" The madam gently stroked her cheek with a weird expression, looking away as if she just witnessed something inappropriate. "A few hours ago." The madam was sitting in front of the operation room waiting for Evan to finish. Bang! The door was open as Evan pushed Felice's bed with the help of two nurses, planning to take the bed to a normal ward. At that time, the madam leaped to him and grabbed his shoulder.
She.
Evan smiled and gave a thumbs up. "Don't worry, she's just too weak right now. I can heal the wounds, but can't do anything with the blood loss. Well, we have infused the blood, so she will be fine. Just wait for a few hours to a day and she will wake up. I can't let someone die, especially since my captain wants her alive after all." Listening to Evan's casual tone and his chuckle, the madam didn't know what to say. Usually, the doctor would make a serious expression, even if they smiled when the operation succeeded. As one would expect from the world's greatest healer, she thought. Thank you. The madam grabbed his shoulders tightly, feeling relieved. Evan remained still as he continued, "Miss May, I know something about the child's relationship with my captain. I quickly came over here when I got the call, so I didn't have enough time to ask for information." He smiled, not knowing anything about the kid, since Kai only told their relationship to Michelle and Ayaka. The madam hesitated for a moment, but remembering that Evan Young was the member of the Lion Group, the group that Kai led, it should be fine to tell him their relationship. Well, Kai Carter has shown his interest in this kid. My kid also asked him to be her teacher, but I guess due to that interest, he accepted. Ho? Evan was surprised that Kai could have something like that. He thought for a moment and muttered, "I wonder if I should tease him like how he teased me." He still held a grudge when Kai teased him as a pedophile because of Lisa. But karma worked. So fast. The moment that thought appeared, a female child's voice echoed inside the hospital corridor. "Ah, there you are. You have finally finished the operation. Big brother Evan, I have come and brought this with me." Evan's body became stiff while the madam saw a kid with two men in black suits protecting her. However, when she looked at the paper the kid brought, she dropped her jaw in shock. "Marriage registration form?" Evans turned around like that of a robot and saw Liesa with a terrified expression. "Why, Liesa, what are you doing here?" "I came here as soon as my mother told me that you were here. I wanted to pick you up, but since I had something to do, I couldn't." Timers. She looked down, feeling sad. However, her expression changed drastically into the brightest smile she could offer. "But it's fine. Since you're here, we should go to my house and play for a while. Of course, don't forget to sign this, okay? I have filled in everything about myself here." "Wait a minute. There's no way I will sign that form. I'm not going to marry an underage girl," Evan shouted in panic. "Ah, does that mean approval?" Lisa became happier and interpreted his words positively. She said, "Doesn't that mean it will be okay if I'm not underage anymore? Don't worry, it will only be several years. We can use this time to get to know each other first. You still need to sign on this form though. We can just put the date several years later. No way. Evan started panicking, searching for an escape route. However, Lisa dropped another bomb. But my mother told me that I'd gotten permission from Sakai Carter. She told me that since you are here, you should stay for a couple of days. Besides, if you sign this form, Professor Rhea Ross has agreed that she will give me the secret formula for her medicine to suppress your blood. We can then play the hormone game. You're pretending to be innocent. I know that you've learned everything from your mother. Evan quickly turned around and tried to escape through the operation room, but the two bodyguards behind her had appeared next to him, placing their hands on his shoulders. One of them said, "I'm sorry, sir. Although we don't like to do this, we need to. We need to bring some money for the family, you see." "You too," Evan gritted his teeth before getting dragged away by the two. "No, I'm not going to be a pedophile." Don't worry. The law won't care much." Lisa put on an innocent smile as she continued, "I only need the permission from 4 people. My mother, your father, Big Sister Isabel, and you. I have contacted your father, and Big Sister Isabel had given her approval a few months ago, while my mother showed her unconditional support. Now, we should get back to the house first to get to know each other. I'm sure that you will give your approval in a few days." "No way," Evan refused while struggling on the floor. "But you have written my name when you're lonely. It's just below Big Sister Isabel. I don't mind though." Evan widened her eyes and gasped, remembering there was one time he indeed wrote her name out of instinct. "Sakai Carter has told me about it." He told my mother that it was just him trying to help his best friend's love life." Evan's eyebrows twitched as he shouted, "Captain, no Kai. You've sold me out, haven't you? I'm going to beat you up when you return." His shout gradually became weaker as the two brought him to their car while Lisa followed them from behind with a big smile on her face. The madam and the 2 nurses were completely bewildered by the scene, as the madam couldn't help but make a weird expression while saying, "Please don't make loud noises." In the hospital, the 2 nurses couldn't contain their laughter while bringing Felice to the normal ward. After listening to the story, Felice couldn't help but chuckle, bringing an expression to her emotionless face. Big Brother is indeed amusing. Well, I doubted he would sell his friend out if there were no feelings between them while the girl just tried to fake it until you made it. Chapter 486, Leasa Alberona. In Rena's mansion, Evan and Leasa sat facing each other. Evan took a sip of the tea Leasa personally brewed. However, the latter had been staring at him this whole time. Confused, he asked, "What do you want?" Lisa didn't answer him and remembered her past. A few years ago, Lisa put on her school uniform. She was still a kid and wanted to experience the school for the first time. Suddenly, Rena entered the room and looked at her with a worried smile. "Lisa! Mom!" Lisa leaped to her and hugged her legs while looking at her face. Rena smiled and patted her head while asking, "Are you sure you want to go to the school?" "Yes." "You!" She let out a long sigh, bent her knees, and hugged her tightly. There was a series of emotions transmitted into Lisa, but the latter was oblivious to it. Lisa only knew her mother was worried about her. Lisa smiled and said, "Mom, Lisa wants to do many things and knows many people. Mom understands. However, your physique is slightly different from other children, so Mom is worried about you." Poison was Rena's strength and became his greatest weapon that allowed her to be an S-rank magician. But it was also her biggest curse. The fate of the one meddling with poison was tragic, with her body containing so many poisons that had fused to her body since young. Her husband's life was taken not long after she was pregnant. Filled with sorrow, Rena still looked forward to the future while anticipating the baby inside her belly. Unfortunately for her, fate played another prank on her. Lisa was born under a special body. Her body was contaminated by the poison in her body and forced to carry it in her blood. No one dared to carry her when she was first born because the residual liquid that covered Lisa's body melted the towel and almost destroyed the nurse's hand. It turned out, Lisa also released a special type of poison to the air subconsciously. If they had contact with her just for a short period, they wouldn't feel anything at all. But if they went into her life without any protection, they would start getting poisoned until they died miserably. Knowing this, Rena started researching for a way to suppress the poisonous air she released naturally, and managed to suppress it by forcing her to wear a necklace made of special flowers. Those flowers were specially chosen by Rena to purify the gas that naturally left her body. Even so, this treatment succeeded for a few years, and Lisa was old enough to finally climb the first step of her education. She hugged her again and said, "No matter what, don't take off the necklace Mom gave you, okay?" Lisa nodded with a bright smile, saying, "Yes, Lisa understands." Seeing such a smile, Rena didn't have the heart to stop her anymore and personally drove her to school. Lisa came out of the car and waved her hand to Rena while walking. "Mom, I love you." Rena also waved her hand and prayed for Lisa's well-being. She had informed the teacher about Lisa's situation, so they should know what to do with her. In school, Lisa found many new friends. Since she was always accompanied by her mother, her caretaker, and a few bodyguards, she was happy to know people of her age. She kept smiling and laughing. Everything went normal. But there was another prank of fate. When she played with the other kids in the school garden, she suddenly fell to the ground and landed on her stomach. Ugh! Lisa wanted to cry, but she held herself back, not wanting to ruin this beautiful day. She endured the pain as the kids started gathering around her, trying to help her. However, the moment she woke up, she saw her necklace was broken. At that time, she realized her body would be releasing the poison air again and endanger the others. Her mother had shown her the horror in her early days because Rena didn't want her to suffer because of her ignorance. That was why, when she saw the broken necklace, Lisa quickly rose from the ground and waved her hand to the side while shouting, "Don't come near me!" The kids were confused, and some even thought Lisa showed hostility and began to cry. Although it pained her heart, Lisa kept shouting while using her hand to push them away. "Don't come near me!" Some of the kids were still trying to help Lisa, while some tried to call the teachers. However, one of the girls suddenly grabbed her hand and refused to let her go. Lisa turned around and saw a black-haired girl. This girl was her first friend, and Lisa's body began to shake, wanting to push her away but unable to do so. She could only keep saying, "No, no, don't come near me. You will be sick." The girl didn't listen to her and kept holding her hand while saying with a smile, "What do you mean? I won't be sick just by holding your hand. Please, please let me go." Lisa started begging her to protect her first friend, but the latter still refused to let go. "No, I am your friend. If you have trouble, I can help you solve the problem." The teacher finally came out and found Lisa's broken necklace. She panicked and ran to them, quickly separating Lisa and the girl. "Don't move. Don't touch her." The teacher quickly called Rena, who happened to stay nearby because of her worry. Rena promised to come immediately, but the situation turned worse. Due to the low immunity of the kid, red marks gradually appeared on her hands that held Lisa a moment ago. "What?" The girl panicked and felt the itchiness from those red marks before it slowly spread to her body. "What is this, teacher?" "I feel so hot." "Teacher, what is happening to me?" The teacher gritted her teeth, picked Lisa's necklace, and put it on her neck again while using her own hand to attach the broken part until Rena arrived. But the girl started becoming terrified and looked around her, finding that all the kids were also frightened by her appearance, especially the red marks on her body. They all stepped back, and some even ran away. It was then the girl realized what kind of non-human Lisa was. She dropped to the ground and looked at Lisa, the daughter of the poison master, as if staring at a monster. "I am going to die. I am going to die." The girl suddenly dropped to the ground, feeling that her body was too hot for her to handle. Lisa and the other kids were scared, but Rena finally arrived at the scene. She instantly understood what had happened and ran to Lisa and the unconscious kid. A magic circle appeared on both of her hands. The first one was to temporarily seal Lisa's poisonous aura, while the other was to absorb the poison that entered the girl's body. "I'm sorry, teacher. I will bring Lisa away right now." Yes. The girl seems to have gone back to normal too. "I have healed her. There won't be any future problems with the kids." She nodded while looking at the rest of the kids. Not wanting to scare the kids anymore, Rena quickly carried Lisa and left the school. Lisa could only cry the whole time despite Rena's effort to calm her down. Due to that incident, Lisa didn't go to school for 2 weeks. After numerous calls from the school, Lisa decided to return to the school in order to check on her friend and other kids. Yet, the moment she entered the class, all the kids looked at her with terrified expressions. She tried to talk to her first friend, only to find her flinching and stepping back while looking at her in horror. She was still small and subconsciously said what was in her mind. "You monster! Lisa's body was shaking and her face was distorted. Unable to endure the pain in her heart, she left the class while crying. This time, there was a bodyguard that followed her and protected her. But the moment she reached home, she locked herself inside her bedroom and hid under her sheet. She cried and cried while shouting, "Why? Why? 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 Am I a monster? Why am I a monster?" Rena wanted to enter and call her name, but Lisa kept shouting at her to go away until she eventually passed out because she was exhausted after too much crying. A moment later, Lisa woke up and saw her mother taking care of her with the gentlest look she could offer. "Mom!" Lisa started breaking again and cried, "Why am I?" Before she finished, Rena had already teared up and hugged her. "Don't worry, Lisa. Even if nobody wants you, Mom will always stay beside you." The two continued to cry. After some time, Lisa regained her calm and decided not to go to school anymore, and locked herself inside the house where no one would need to suffer anymore. She had locked her heart and decided to live with only her mother, who showed her unconditional love and support. She eventually learned about poison from her to control her power better. It continued for several years. Suddenly, the heart that had been frozen for years started to melt when Evan came to the mansion. His healing ability neutralized any poison from her body or the ones around her. It was the first time she had finally met another person she could gradually open up to. When Evan was there, she offered the best smile of her life the whole time. When Evan wasn't there, she cried, feeling overjoyed. It was the first time in her life she finally met someone who wouldn't leave her alone anymore. In that instant, she fell in love, thinking he would be the person she would spend her entire life with. Remembering the scene, Lisa smiled and kept staring at Evan's face. "What?" Evan was troubled by her constant stare, but the latter was still saying with a cheerful tone, "Nothing. Hey, hey, hey." Chapter 487, Felice's Request. 3 weeks later, Kai returned to Belarus after finishing his mission. Although he didn't meet any attacker group on the way, he had listened to the situation around him, finding that not many monsters were alive in the epic center where they were supposed to create a base for further invasion. Kai didn't care and continued his way to Belarus. Surprisingly, Rena hadn't gone back to her home waiting for him. It was on the base they met, making Kai confused. He tilted his head and asked, You didn't go back?" "Nah, I'm waiting for you first, hoping you don't mind if you bring me back like how I came here. Either way, I have something I want to say." Seeing her serious face, Kai agreed, and the group returned with a helicopter. In the air, Rena finally opened her mouth, telling him what happened. "Actually, I want to thank you for bringing Evan here. Although it was not intentional, Lisa had a great time." Kai shook his head. "If there is nothing between them, I wouldn't even agree to it. However, my friend is a bit indecisive, you see. Only when Isabel took charge would he begin to show his affection. That's why I agreed to your request." "Ahaha!" Rena chuckled while remembering what Lisa had gone through in the past. She smiled. "If you need any help, just call me. I will do my best to help you. Just take care of Felice. That's enough for me." Kai shrugged. "Though what I want to do is..." Even though Kai stopped there, Rena knew Kai wanted to destroy the group that attacked them. But Rena stopped him with a shake of the head. "I think you should see this first." Rena showed a video call from Felice. She seemed to have a message for him. Kai fell silent and looked at her, waiting for her to talk. After a long pause, Felice finally opened her mouth. "Big brother Kai, I know that with your personality, you're going to destroy the group that attacked us, but would you please give this matter to me? I would like to destroy them with my hand. Of course, big sister Rosalind will help me together with Sir Arnaud. I have also discussed the matter with the Campbell family, and they've agreed to this plan. I promise you that while I'm training to get stronger and completing the mission you gave me, I will destroy them within 1 year. It may not be that hard for you to destroy them, but this is a kind of challenge for me to improve myself. I know that what I'm requesting here is too reckless and selfish, but..." Felice lowered her head. "Please." Kai narrowed his eyes, while Rosalind and Sophia looked at each other. Rosalind obviously didn't have any problem helping her. But Sophia, on the other hand, was surprised that her father would give in, especially after Julia was taken away. She thought for a moment and said, "Kai, there's no way I can go with you immediately, so I can help her too during that time with Rosalind while looking out for this kid." Besides, I'm not going to let her do something too reckless and give you a daily report. We can't trust Rosalind, right? Rosalind pouted and looked away. She knew that with how she acted the whole time, it was hard for others to trust her. After all, Kai had threatened her a few times and somehow changed her plans. That was why Sophia believed Rosalind wouldn't be able to endure Felicia's begging. He thought for a moment and asked, "Do you mind having Sophia with you?" "No, as long as Big Brother agrees, that's fine with me." Felicia shook her head without hesitation. "It's not like I'm going to lie to you anyway, whatever the result. After all, for me, trust is number one. I don't believe white lies that are supposed to be a lie used to protect your loved one. It's just a show of distrust in my eyes." Kai closed his eyes for a minute before opening his mouth. "I will allow it. However, there is one more condition. Please tell me. Before you raid their bases, even if it's only a small one, I want you to report the situation to me, including your plan on how you would like to get rid of them." "I understand." Felice agreed immediately, but little did she know, the reason why Kai wanted that plan was to teach her a bit about warfare, his specialty. Although he didn't admit it yet, Kai was already satisfied with her performance and planned to take in the kid regardless of the result. "All right then, you can do it." Kai nodded. "I will leave them to you." "Yes, I won't disappoint or worry you anymore." Felice repeatedly nodded, assuring Kai. Kai only chuckled and said with a smile, "No need to rush. You have a long time." He felt happy in teaching her and wondered why Felice was cuter than normal. He then remembered when he first met his master, recalling the memory when she gradually smiled and laughed with him even if it wasn't funny. It might be the joy of having a student, Kai thought. At the same time, he didn't know why he picked 1 year before, but when he had this thought, he realized it was something that his teacher had instilled in him. That 1 year was the same period of his training where he died more than 10,000 times until his emotion went numb, not knowing what to feel anymore. Although he had recovered it, he still remembered the scariness of the training. Knowing that Felice would take the same step as him, he couldn't help but chuckle to see how similar they were. He just saw the small him within her. "Be careful out there, will you?" Kai smiled and said something that he didn't receive back then. "Call me if you need anything." Yes, he had given his contact information to Felice, unlike Ria Ross, who disappeared so suddenly back then. His experience of getting chased and almost died made this decision to prevent Felice from experiencing the same. After all, her ability wasn't like him, so it would be best to be in a safe environment first. Since he had discussed everything, Rena hung up as Kai stared at her with a serious expression. Kai lowered his head and asked, "Please take care of her." Rena obviously didn't expect Kai to be lowering his head. Kai might be the strongest person in the world, so it was incomprehensible for such a person to lower his head. Yet, the same person didn't hesitate in doing it for the sake of his future student. This also put some pressure on Rena, because she knew Kai treasured his future disciple. She took a deep breath and answered, "Yes, I will do my best to take care of her." After that, they had a small talk and flew for a few hours before arriving in French. He quickly came out of the helicopter, only to find someone waiting for him. He was none other than one of the S-rank magicians, Arnaud. Arnaud had a serious expression and looked at him. He didn't extend his hand while saying, "I have some bad news. Which one would you like to hear first?" Chapter 4A8. Insanity. Kai was speechless when he heard it. His eyebrows twitched and he said, "If all of them are bad, why do you want me to choose?" Arnaud shrugged and continued, "Anyway, I have 3 pieces of news for you. First, I've sniffed out the real mastermind." "That's good. Isn't that good news?" Kai tilted his head in confusion. "Well, because he is bad news. The culprit is the current Prime Minister of France." Kai couldn't understand why it was bad news, so he asked, "Is there any problem with his identity?" "Yes, he currently holds the strongest influence. Although I doubt there is another connection between him and other union members, I'm afraid it will take time to weaken him." "Oh?" Hai looked down and thought, "It's not like we can kill him and be done with it." "Don't say such a scary thing in public. He won't like to be exposed, right?" Kai shook his head and knew his concern. However, he had made sure that nothing would pick him out with his ears. "Anyway, why is France's Prime Minister bad news?" "He is a scary man who plays very well in politics." Arnaud shook his head helplessly. "I'm afraid he will set us up if we go at him directly. That's why we need another party to help us." "Another party?" Kai narrowed his eyes. Yes, the Prime Minister of Sweden. He has agreed to meet you, but I'm afraid it has become the second bad news. What do you mean? He wants to show you something. No, the true ruler of Sweden wants to show you something. Due to that, he wants you to go there by yourself to discuss this matter. That's easy, but Kai suddenly found something was wrong and continued. If I go there, won't the spy notice me? Yes, that's why it's a problem. We can't get you there while avoiding his eyes. We may find another way, but what I'm curious about is, did you say the true ruler of Sweden? Yes. The current Prime Minister is just a puppet. The real ruler is someone scarier than France's Prime Minister. You can say that if you're a prodigy in warfare, this person is a prodigy in politics. Ho? Kai was amused by this information and asked, so, this person wants me to go there without being seen? Yes. Before continuing this topic, I need to know the third news first. Certainly. As much as we have hidden it, our sudden disappearance made him suspicious. He has been looking for us this whole time and suspects that we received outside help to increase Sophia and Rosalind's power. He suspected that there was something going on and tried to sniff it out from me or anybody else. That's why we don't have much time left. What? Kai opened his mouth in surprise. In their current situation, the source of power was the most important. That was why he had been redirecting all the attention to his secret method instead of outside help. However, the Prime Minister seemed to have understood that there was outside help. This would certainly interest those people from the sea. That was why he understood the urgency of this meeting. Kai thought for a moment and asked, if I were to meet this true ruler, what is our chance in defeating France's Prime Minister? 80%. Sweden has been preparing for everything this whole time and only waits for the right time to strike. And since you've got a great interest in this matter, they're planning to make their move soon. Fair enough, Kai nodded. In that case, I will do it. What is the plan you get, and what is our time limit? Arnaud then opened the map and pointed at Lithuania. Because of the current invasion, I'm planning to send you here to become their reinforcement. The reason why I chose Lithuania is due to its location. First, I wanted to send you to Sweden, but you couldn't go through Denmark. Hence, I changed my plan. The current plan is to have you go to this place and go around, passing Latvia, Estonia, Finland, and finally arriving in Sweden. Kai agreed without hesitation, since it was better than sending him to the south or southeast, where their main battlefield was. However, he still didn't have confidence in going around with the time limit and asked, what is the time limit? Is there any restriction? The time limit is 2 weeks. The restriction, I'm afraid you can't go by vehicle. In other words, you need to go around by foot. That's an insane request you have there. Kai frowned as his expression turned serious. If it's only a one-way trip, I may probably be able to do it. I know that, but this is the only way. Arnaud sighed. Kai looked down and crossed his arms, contemplating his plan. He then remembered that he had the ability to control the magical beasts. Although it wasn't every single one of them, he should be able to use them to get around. The problem would be Finland. There was no way he could show it there, so he asked, how about Finland? Do I need to conceal myself there too? Arnaud had a pained expression but still nodded his head. You're indeed asking too much of me. Kai shook his head helplessly while zooming the map. He then pointed at the small island above Latvia or west to Estonia. If this doesn't work, I'm going to make you accountable for it. Kai sighed and offered an insane solution. I'm going to use this island. Huh? Arnaud was confused by his choice before he dropped his jaw to the ground, unable to comprehend whether Kai had gone crazy or not. You're not going to say you want to cross the sea, right? Yes, that's my plan. Kai shrugged. Are you insane? You're the one who makes me. Kai yawned and said, anyway, I'm going to use this island and go straight to the west to rest on this small island called Gotska Sanden National Park before arriving at Stockholm. This way, I can arrive there in 3 days. Using the same amount of time to go back, I will probably spend another 3 days in Sweden. The remaining 5 days will be used to work my ass in Lithuania. You? Arnaud was speechless, as he couldn't even rebuke him. What he said defied logic. But Kai himself couldn't go along with logic. Hence, he thought Kai must have the power to cross the sea, even though he would be swarmed by an army of fishes and any other sea creatures. Their number was far higher than those in the sky. That was why aviation was there while no ship dared to venture to the sea. Anyway, I have given you my plan. No matter how insane it is, it's your job to trust me. Tell that true ruler to meet me there, or we can pretend that this conversation never happened. And you also need to make an excuse for me to leave Lithuania and venture alone. There's no way the soldiers won't realize I'm missing for 9 days. Kai shrugged and patted Arnaud's shoulder before walking away. That's it. I'm going to prepare for the upcoming trip. I don't know if you still have common sense, but trust. Huh? Arnaud was speechless, wondering whether he or even the true ruler could trust Kai's insane method. Chapter 489, Heading to the Shore. After settling the plan with Arnaud, Kai finally returned to the school without visiting the hospital. Inside his room, Sophia came to him with a serious expression, asking, "Are you sure you're going to continue with this crazy plan?" Kai smiled and nodded. Yes. There was no doubt in his eyes that he could succeed, making even Sophia ponder the true probability of him reaching Sweden within 3 days with that insane plan. "Are you worried?" "Of course. What is that stupid question?" She shook her head helplessly and placed her hand on his cheek. "It's going to be dangerous, you know. It's fine. It's not like I'm planning to defeat a protector inside the sea." Kai shrugged, knowing that the protector wouldn't even think about this plan, as he had already known the way to reach Sweden in 3 days. "It seems there is no way for me to follow you. Maybe I can freeze a portion of the sea as we continue our way. That's going to be suspicious for the others. Instead, you and Rosalind are to remain here or go for another mission." Kai thought for a moment and continued, "And with Felice's condition, I feel like it's right for Rosalind to visit her. So, you want me to watch her from time to time?" "Yes." "Is that too much to ask?" "Not at all. Although I can't go with you, solving your worries is something I can do." "Thanks." Kai nodded with a serious expression and looked at her. "There is something I want to tell you." "What is it? Do you want me to do something?" "Yes." "Can you ask for any information about this Prime Minister? I'm afraid there is someone standing behind him that protects him all the time. That's why I believe it's not the time to make a reckless move by killing him. And if the Prime Minister indeed comes for us, eliminate whoever's behind him. Of course, ask Rosalind for help." Sophia pondered and nodded not long after. "I understand. I will work together with Arnaud. Besides, Grandfather is pressuring the organization that attacks us to prevent any more attacks. It's also a good choice for us to remain here. Yes, I will be leaving everything to you." "Sure." The next day, Kai woke up and gave a peck on Sophia's forehead before heading out with minimum equipment. He gently knocked on Rosalind's door. When Rosalind opened the door with her sleepy eyes, she lightly rubbed her eyes before finding Kai standing before her. She looked down and realized she was in her pajamas. She quickly fixed her clothes and asked in a panic, "Whoa, what do you want? I mean, do you need anything from me?" "Yeah, you should have received the mission from Sir Arnaud, right? I want to start the mission right now." "This early?" Rosalind tilted her head in confusion. "Yes, since we don't have much time left, I better go right now." Kai nodded with a serious expression. I understand." Rosalind repeatedly nodded and quickly grabbed her device, slightly revealing her room. Kai didn't have any interest in peeping into a maiden room, so he simply took a step back to wait for her. When Rosalind came out, she showed Kai that the mission had been approved, and she just needed to take a record of his departure. "Do you need anything in your mission?" "No. Since it will be a hard journey, I will only bring my swords and 2 water bottles to dehydrate myself. It should be enough. Of course, it's preferable that you can send me to Lithuania by helicopter." Rosalind agreed without hesitation. "That's easy. I will make a simple command for you. Just show it to the base, and you will get a ride to Lithuania." "Thanks." Kai nodded and said, "Also, I would like you to be careful. I don't have anything with me, so I can't help you in this situation." "Yes, I will be extra careful for these 2 weeks." "That's good." He then patted her shoulder and said, "If something happens, you can contact the Sweden side since I will be back immediately. I don't say this to Sophia, because she will surely try to do everything she can to make me not worry, so I will trust this to you." Rosalind smiled and looked down, feeling a bit sad. She looked at his eyes and said, "I feel a bit envious." Kai tilted his head in confusion and heard Rosalind continue, "I'm envious that Sophia can actually do everything for the man she loves, and you also love her back unconditionally." Rosalind gently stroked her cheek with her finger and said, "Anyway, I shouldn't talk about this since I need to focus on my mission." Kai didn't know what to say and remained silent. After a while, he had received the document, turned around and said while walking away, "I believe there will be someone right for you." Rosalind waved her hand with a gentle expression before shaking her head, returning to her room. Meanwhile, Kai headed straight to the military base to ask for a helicopter to take him to Lithuania. After negotiating with the general and showing the document, the general asked someone to take him there. Kai was thankful and finished his journey even before 9 a.m. It was still in the morning, and he could see many soldiers preparing their equipment for the invasion. Kai, on the other hand, reported to the general in charge and presented him with the mission document. The general said he already knew, since Arnor had told him everything yesterday. He requested that Kai was to be deployed near Latvia, so he could do a better job alone. Since the essence of elite soldiers was fighting alone, the general agreed to him and gave him the location near Latvia's border. He was tasked to kill all the monsters there before returning to the base to create a small path for them to make a temporary base, connecting Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia in one straight line. Kai agreed with the mission, believing he could finish it within a few days after visiting Sweden. Since he had settled everything, Kai saluted him and quickly made his way out of the base, heading straight to the location. However, Kai changed his direction midway because he planned to go straight to the shore where he could reach the small island. He already had his plan to cross the sea anyway. After an hour of running, he thought it was enough for him to start his plan. He suddenly heard a howl and quickly followed the sound, finding 10 wolves moving together. The wolves had a blue body that seemed to have mutated from its previous color. Even so, the wolves still had brown fur, making them quite weird wolves. However, his eyes were fixated on the bigger wolf, whose fur was lighter brown. Its eyes looked into Kai's eyes as if challenging him, but Kai simply smiled and said, "You're the one. I want you to bring me to the shore." Yes, this was his plan. He wanted to use his ability to communicate and control the monsters to travel across the sea. Although it would be inconvenient to do it to the sea creatures, he planned to use a bird when he reached the shore, allowing him to finally experience flying with a bird. Chapter 490, Fighting the Wolf. Looking at the wolves, Kai suddenly stepped forward and howled, "I want you to bring me to the shore north from this place." The wolf leader was seemingly surprised as he never expected a human could talk to him. It let out a weak growl, replying, "Human talking to us? Who are you?" Kai narrowed his eyes and said with a serious expression, "The king of the humans." The wolf suddenly took a step back, as if understanding the importance of that title. He observed Kai's movement and aura before replying, "I don't believe you. It's up to you. However, I want to ask you, how should I persuade you to take me to the shore?" The wolf fell silent, contemplating his offer. After a while, the wolf said, "I will only recognize one's strength. If you wish to ride on my back, even if you're the king of the humans, you can only convince me with your strength." "Shall be it." Kai's expression turned serious as he put down his sword, planning to face him with his fists so as to avoid killing the wolf. Seeing Kai get ready, the wolf also told the others to stay away. He stared at Kai intensely, ready to jump on him the moment he noticed a slight movement from Kai. Kai noticed his intention and smiled, raising his guard. A magic circle then appeared beneath his feet, launching him to the wolf. In response, the wolf leaped to the front, confronting him head-on. He waved both his paws and his claws, while Kai grabbed the paws with his hands, showing the same amount of strength even though the wolf was slightly bigger than his size. The wolves were surprised to see their leader couldn't even push this human's back. Kai noticed that this wolf was an intelligent monster, and that was the reason he chose him to help him in his journey. The wolf suddenly changed its strategy and got away from Kai. He then charged forward in a zigzag, trying to confuse Kai, but the latter already understood its intention from his footsteps. Kai would hear the slight difference between his normal jump and the one that planned to attack him. At that moment, Kai struck his claw while protecting his fist with an exoskeleton to avoid any scratch left by the claws. Bam! 3 star-shaped lights appeared above his head before dropping right onto him. Kai summoned his sound blast instead of his shield, to blow all those attacks away, launching them to the side. Those three then hit the ground and created ice crystals bigger than the wolf's body. If he were hit by it, he might be pierced by those sharp, pointed ice. Kai believed he needed to get serious to end this fight very soon, so he used his sound blast beneath the wolf's foot, launching his bottom half to the air. Using that momentum, Kai twisted his body to spin the wolf before throwing him to a tree. Without waiting for any wolves to react, including the leader itself, Kai sent a kick to the tree trunk above his head and destroyed the trunk, showing that if he wanted to kill him, he could do it any time. The wolf took a peek at the destruction that surprisingly affected the other trees behind him and realized that Kai needed to adjust his power to avoid killing him this whole time. Such a merciful act melted the wolf's heart as he gradually rose from the ground and lowered his head. I have lost. You let me win. Kai smiled and took a deep breath before returning to pick up his weapons. The wolf saw his weapons and asked, "My master, how strong are you if you wield those weapons?" Kai thought for a moment and shrugged. "I'm not very sure, but killing all of you within 10 seconds is possible." The wolf leader fell silent and finally sat on the ground. "I shall accompany you to the shore. I believe we can reach there within a few hours." "That's right. Do you happen to know any birds that can travel across the sea?" "I need Hisha help to travel to somewhere," Kai asked, knowing that the magical beasts weren't really that aggressive toward each other, so he thought there might be a chance for the wolf to know it. Fortunately, the wolf nodded his head and replied, "If you desire a wing to help you fly over the sea, then I know someone. I can help you convince him, but I can't really ask him to do a favor." Kai understood and said, "It's fine, as long as I can meet him." "I understand." The wolf didn't complain since he somehow understood why Kai's words were more persuasive than his. Although he didn't understand it that much, he felt there was something strange in the way he talked, including the language. It was as if he was a superior being that everyone needed to follow. Even his heart was influenced in his first sentence. Kai wasn't aware of this ability yet, but there was a slight change in his tone when he used this language. Kai considered it as an accent, but it was something else. And it was also the reason why magical beasts would follow someone superior willingly, like those protectors of the sea. As for himself, since he had gotten what he wanted, Kai then walked to the wolf and asked, "Can you guide me to him?" "Certainly. I believe his size is wide enough for your excellency to ride on." The wolf then rose from the ground and allowed Kai to ride on his back. Because his size was slightly bigger than Kai, Kai managed to hop on his back without his feet touching the ground as long as he lifted it a bit. Although it wasn't that comfortable, he was able to conserve his stamina for whatever he needed in the future. As instructed, the wolf led him to the north, near the coast. However, there was a small hill they passed, and the wolf suddenly turned around, trying to climb the hill. Kai himself had talked quite a bit with the wolves to check the condition of their living in this place, and the wolves happily discussed it. Even Kai was surprised to hear the hierarchy of the monsters. After a while, they became a bit friendlier toward each other, knowing that both of them were just trying to do everything to survive. Since there were only a few hundred meters to go, Kai jumped off the wolf's back and ran alongside him, trying to find who he wanted to introduce to him. Surprisingly, the wolf led him to a dark cave where Kai had difficulty seeing. Although he could hear the sound of their movements, he didn't know the monster's species in the current situation. "I sense two presences inside." Kai narrowed his eyes. The wolf nodded in agreement, confirming his hearing ability. As if listening to his voice, a pair of golden eyes flashed inside the dark cave before a shadow made its appearance. When it finally came out of the dark, the bird flapped and extended its wing to the sides, showing its mighty figure. The wingspan from this bird was 10 meters, with its body height alone reaching 5 meters. It was a colossal bird, and the bird was one of the most dangerous predators in the sky. An eagle. "Leave right now. I shall spare no mercy if you take another step on this hill." Chapter 491. Reaching an Understanding. Kai looked at the bird in silence before narrowing his eyes, finding something was wrong with the bird. The wolf also noticed it and said, "Damn you, you don't even recognize me." The eagle finally came to his senses before looking at the wolf with a frown. "What are you doing here? This is my territory." "I know. I'm here to guide a person to see you." The wolf shook his head and glanced at Kai. The eagle then turned to Kai, finding he was a human. The eagle became a bit agitated as he asked, "Why would a human trespass my territory? Since you want death, I will give you. He is no ordinary human. He is a king." The wolf stopped him before any fight started, not wanting the eagle to die. Kai, on the other hand, noticed something inside the cave. The breath was weak. This creature had a small size, but he could see a similar shape to the eagle before him. Hence, he asked, "Do you have a problem? I can hear someone with a similar body like you inside the cave, and its breath is very weak." The eagle widened his eyes and opened its wing, trying to stop Kai from entering the cave as if he was hiding something. The wolf then realized and asked, "Your son, did something happen to your son? He is fine. He is the son of the great me. There's no way he will die from the fall." The eagle let out a loud cry until its voice cracked a bit, indirectly telling both of them that he wasn't fine. Kai thought for a moment and said, "Maybe I can see him first and ask a specialist to see whether I can help or not." Kai offered his help in order to gain the trust of the eagle, but the eagle rejected him immediately. "I won't trust you. He is the king," the wolf reminded him before helping Kai convince the eagle. "I know that you don't trust anyone with that pride of yours, but isn't it fine just to let Kim see your son? It's good that he can help him." The eagle hesitated again and glanced at Kai and the cave back and forth. After a while, the eagle nodded its head and stepped aside. Before entering the cave, Kai actually took out his device, calling his teacher instead of Evan. "What? Do you need anything from me?" "Actually, I would like to ask a question. Do you know anything about eagles?" "How random. And why the heck are you even asking me that kind of question?" "Don't tell me. You can listen to magical beasts' conversation right now. I know that your ears are abnormal, but this one is beyond ridiculous." Kai chuckled and asked, "Can you?" "I am not a vet. You should ask a vet for this, but since it's unprecedented for a human to talk to magical beasts, I guess it will bring a lot of controversy because of you. I will call my friend once and ask something necessary about it." "What's this all about?" "There seems to be an injured eagle, but I don't know the exact details." "Okay, I will ask him first. You can check the eagle, understood?" "Thanks." Kai hung up and asked, "Can I meet your son?" Seeing Kai asking for his permission again, even though he had stepped aside, the eagle finally stopped his attitude, knowing that Kai respected him. He then nodded. "Please." The eagle didn't follow him inside even though he was still worried. Kai smiled and thanked him before entering the cave. The light was quite dim, so he used his device to generate more light for him to see the front. He walked closer and closer to the eagle's son, which had the same appearance as its father, except for the size. Before him was a small eagle half of a human size, but he realized that he was covered with blood. There were some wounds around his wings and body. When the eagle saw him, he became vigilant, albeit his body was too weak to even move. He simply remained laying down on the ground as he heard Kai's voice. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you. Your father is outside as well. I just want to look at your condition." Knowing that his father had given him the permission, as well as having no strength to fight back, the eagle dropped its guard and let Kai do whatever he wanted. Kai then took a few photos of him and sent them to Rhea Ross to be examined. Rhea Ross only gathered the information without leading the conversation to Kai meeting an eagle to protect him. At the same time, she realized that the condition was not bad at all. After a long pause, Rhea Ross asked him to bring him outside to treat him while checking whether he had an internal injury or not, since she couldn't help him if he had one. Kai agreed with her and asked, "Do you mind if I bring you outside? It's too dark to understand everything." As soon as he gave the permission, Kai gently lifted him up and carried him to the outside, surprising both the eagle and the wolf. Before the eagle became angry, Kai had put his son down while pressing a few areas according to Rhea's instruction. He soon heard a series of roars echoing in the area. It was a normal reaction since he had just used his device to call his teacher. Since he didn't want anyone to bother Kai, the wolf offered himself to calm the rest. On the contrary, Kai pressed the eagle's body gently while asking, "Do you feel pain here? If you do, just blink twice." The eagle surprisingly didn't blink even when Kai pressed all the areas suggested by Rhea. Knowing that the wound was just superficial, he assured the father, "There's no threat from the inside. As long as we patch up the wound and let him recover for a while, I think he will be fine. The eagle looked at him for a while, but Kai could feel the relief from his eyes and the sound of his heart. Since there was nothing to wrap him, Kai tore both his sleeves and pants, leaving him with only a sleeveless shirt and short pants. He washed them with the water he brought to barely disinfect them, before slicing the clothes to a few pieces and drying them off by blowing sound wave to generate wind, allowing him to wrap all the wounds. The eagle's son felt excruciating pain during the whole process, but he found out that the bleeding had stopped after Kai poured water on the wound and wrapped it. He realized that little pain was worth enduring, because he could see that his son should be fine after a while. The mighty eagle finally lowered its head and said, "Thank you, human king. It's fine." My teacher and another person gave a helping hand. Kai winked his eyes. The wolf also returned and saw that everything had ended before turning to the eagle, revealing Kai's purpose. "Eagle, he actually wanted your help to cross the ocean." "Crossing the ocean?" The eagle furrowed his eyebrows and turned to Kai. "I'm sorry, human king. Although I want to help you, I don't think I can fly that far. The best I can do is to cover a great distance before the needs to rest." Kai then opened his map and showed him his plan. "Actually, this is my plan. I'm going to this big island to start the journey and land on this small one to rest for a while. After that, I can continue the journey for a while before dropping to the ocean, making my way there to avoid anyone from seeing you. But if it's not possible, then I will try to ask someone else or go there by myself." The eagle narrowed his eyes and didn't really understand the map. However, he could see Kai had a plan. "I don't know much about the distance and what you've shown me, but I can try to take you to the first one to judge whether I can complete the journey or not. What do you think?" Kai smiled and nodded. "That would be great." The distance from this place to the edge of that island was half of every flying session, so it's a good way to judge it. "And I really appreciate your help." Seeing that the eagle and Kai had come to an agreement, the wolf said, "I can watch over your son until you finish your trip." The eagle nodded and knew that even though the wolf was not his friend or enemy, he indeed could trust him as he was a wolf of principle. Kai's heart was also moved, knowing that the beasts were actually caring for each other. He then said, "I think you should relocate from here sooner or later. If possible, go to the east as far as you can go. I don't think they will be able to reach that area for at least a few decades. Unfortunately, I don't have enough strength to stop their expansion in my current state." The eagle and wolf looked at each other and nodded. The wolf replied, "In that case, we will leave the area. It's not that rare to migrate from one area to another anyway. After you complete your objective, of course." "Thanks." Kai, the wolf, and the eagle felt like they had reached an understanding. Besides, both of them could ask the other beasts to follow them to the east to avoid dying. At the same time, Kai could also clear this place from magical beasts peacefully, allowing him to produce a big result for his mission. It was a win-win situation. Chapter 492. Friendship. After agreeing to bring Kai across the ocean, the eagle quickly lowered its head and body, asking Kai to hop on his back. Kai waved to the wolf and said, "Goodbye." The wolf only nodded his head, not saying anything, as if it couldn't bear to separate from Kai. Now that he understood them more and looked at them, the magical beasts were actually cute. They were indeed aggressive, but there was a kind of charm that pets didn't have. Unfortunately, he couldn't stay any longer, so he gently tapped the eagle's back as the eagle tugged his son for a while before soaring to the sky. Kai held onto his fur and made sure he didn't fall off by adjusting his balance. No matter how intelligent they had never once given someone a ride, so it was certainly not the best seat he would get. However, the eagle didn't flap its wings so much in the air, while Kai asked him to maintain a certain altitude so he didn't get frozen or feel the lack of air due to the air pressure. Understanding Kai's condition, the eagle fulfilled his request as they flew according to Kai's direction. The wind kept pushing Kai's hair and prevented him from having a quiet talk with the eagle. It seemed flying like this wasn't that much of joy like those in fairy tales. Seeing that Kai was unable to do anything, the eagle tried to form a wind barrier to prevent anything from touching him. When that happened, Kai was worried and asked the eagle, "Are you sure you want to do this? Doesn't it use your power?" "Don't worry. I've gotten used to flying like this when teaching my son. I should be able to reach the destination or stop along the way, since you say the distance is not that far." "Well, if you're too tired on the way, I can carry you on my back, probably. Ha ha ha. Let's hope such a thing won't happen. The eagle let out a cry, as if it was laughing at Kai's joke. He just couldn't imagine what kind of scene he would see if Kai was the one carrying him in the sky. Nevertheless, the two started making conversations, talking about various things. Kai was curious about the life of a magical beast, so he asked various things from survival to mating. It turned out that the magical beasts still needed to obey the jungle law and clashed with each other to survive. The reason why humanity never saw their bones or remnants on the ground was due to them eating the corpses completely to fill their belly. They were also territorial people that would fight anyone that came to their territory. The wolf and the eagle once had a fight before becoming a neighbor. It was a cute story in Kai's ears, and he couldn't help but tease the eagle. The eagle told him that they didn't need much food anyway, due to their energy replenished by the magic power, but they certainly wouldn't say no to food. At the same time, he learned that the magical beasts could also mate and produce offspring like a normal animal. The only difference was their power and the labor. Due to powerful magic power poured into the baby when they were in the womb, the mother couldn't give birth so often and produced many at once. With the humans killing them to reclaim their land, their number gradually decreased. The eagle told him about his story, especially his son like a doting father. He could feel the love and care in his story, changing his perception of eagles. They turned out to be loving creatures, even though they were kind of prideful. Kai also shared some of his stories about how he met his current family and his need to kill more magical beasts. The eagle was intrigued by his story and knew that the reason Kai wanted them to leave was to protect them, so he didn't need to kill them. No, Kai simply didn't want to kill them. The eagle was thankful that Kai wasn't an aggressive king that would trample anyone in front of them. After all, he had once seen a king that destroyed anything in his way. Kai asked about the identity of that king, but the eagle refused to answer because it was kind of taboo to reveal the king's identity, as he and his race would be in danger. He also promised that he wouldn't tell anyone about his identity. Understanding his situation, Kai patted his back and thanked him. Their relationship gradually became better, and the eagle finally reached the shore, crossing the sea easily without any sign of fatigue. After another 2 hours, they finally saw a big island coming into their vision. Since the sun was about to set, Kai decided to take a rest on this island before continuing the journey tomorrow. He set up a tent and a campfire as he sat next to the eagle. Due to its large body, the eagle indeed made Kai look small. In the end, he adjusted his position and leaned on the eagle's body, showing a bit of intimacy as new friends. While relaxing, Kai asked, "I am still wondering, what did you feel when I used my communication device?" Communication device? The eagle tilted his head in confusion. Kai took out his device and showed it to him. "Ah, that one. I was not sure myself, but there was something in my body that felt like rejecting it. I don't know what it was, but it certainly made me uncomfortable." Kai thought for a moment, trying to see the reason. He might be able to break down the concept to allow humans to use communication devices without fearing a magical beast would attack them. However, he soon realized that the primitive one, like the radio, was also picked up by them. After a series of thoughts, Kai asked him to feel his sound wave, which didn't do anything to him. It confirmed that the reason why they were able to feel their communication device was either from pollution or radio waves. Pollution was a broad concept after all. Sound pollution, air pollution, water pollution, and so on. He might want to wait for Felice to come to the US base, so she could work together with Ria to solve this problem. It would also boost her name in the country, which was good. Unknowingly, Kai had been thinking about her more, especially her future. It was a kind of anticipation that he didn't mind having inside his heart. No wonder Ria Ross didn't mind doing anything for him. Getting his answer, Kai thanked him again and asked, "That's right, how do you feel about the journey? You still need to go back too, you know." "I don't have a problem." The eagle shook his head and told him that everything was under control. Instead, he asked, "Are you going to return right after? I can bring you back to this place if you want." "That will be great, but I don't want to trouble you more than this. Saving life is worth more than a few days. I'm sure my son can understand that. I don't know if it's the same as human, but our top priority is to pay back someone that we owe by multiple times." Kai suddenly turned sentimental as he looked at the night sky, lamenting. Humanity is supposed to be the same, but our intelligence and heart are often clouded by greed, lust, or anything that makes us unable to do it. That's why most of the time, you will find that humans are biting the hand of those who feed them. Although Kai generalized the human, the eagle knew that everyone wasn't like that. Kai was the perfect example. He looked at him and gently poked his cheek with his beak, saying, "Humanity may be selfish, but I know there are people like you that will restore one's faith in humanity." Kai made a genuine smile. "Thanks." The eagle didn't say more and simply played with Kai. After a while, both of them fell asleep. Of course, they made sure no one would come to them by informing the other beasts about it. The next day, they continued their journey to Sweden and flew to the sky for 7 hours before arriving at the small island. Unfortunately for him, Kai's supply was rather low since he used one bottle to heal the eagle and headed there without refilling it on the island. They searched from the sky but found nothing that could replenish the water, so Kai decided not to drink and stopped for another day on this island, making sure that he and the eagle were not tired. When the sun came out of the horizon and brightened the whole island up, the eagle and Kai continued their journey without a problem. Kai used his device to track their location and made sure he stopped before anything from Stockholm could see any sign of them. The eagle then descended to the sea as he rose and said, "Thank you. We will meet again 4 days later at the same time. What do you think? I understand. It should be enough time for me to ask other beasts to flee while I and the others leave the last." The eagle agreed, as they had been talking about this for the past 2 days. Kai then jumped off his back into the sea while waving his hand. The eagle quickly flew away so as to avoid exhausting Kai's energy by watching him. Kai thanked him once again before starting to swim to the shore. Meanwhile, on the shore, there was a middle-aged man standing behind a black-haired woman. The middle-aged man asked politely, "Milady, I don't think it will be good for your health to stay here." "It's fine. I've asked him such a ridiculous request, so I will be waiting for him here. This is the least I can do to show my sincerity in this cooperation. I will be standing here for a whole day." Chapter 493, Sweden. The lady held her black hair to avoid getting blown away before she suddenly found something weird in the ocean. She narrowed her eyes and saw that red spots gradually appeared on the sea as corpses began to float on the surface. The middle-aged man seemed to have recognized what was happening too and muttered, "Milady, I think that is—" "Yes." She nodded and smiled. "What a guy. It seems I underestimated his power. He is no doubt the strongest person in the world." She quickly walked to the edge, wanting to see what was happening, albeit it didn't last too long. After a few minutes, Kai had reached the island and came out of the water, leaping to the ground where the two people waited. He was drenched before making sure that his swords, backpack, and device were still with him. "Ha! It's a harsh journey." Kai took a deep breath while taking off his shirt, squeezing all the water inside it. He then looked at the black-haired girl and the old man with a calm expression. The black-haired girl quickly lowered her head and lifted her skirt a bit while crossing her feet. "Nice to meet you, Sir Kai Carter. I would like to apologize first for giving you such a ridiculous request, and I would like to thank you for accepting it." The middle-aged man stared at him in shock and hadn't recovered ever since. It was the girl who was weird, since Kai just did something that couldn't be replicated by anyone in this world. Even if they used a boat or something, it was already useless. Yet, the man before him actually swam across the ocean, showing that his strength was unfathomable. The middle-aged man knew that the moment Kai wanted them to die, they wouldn't live past tomorrow, so he tried to calm his heart down. The woman, on the other hand, asked Kai, "I think it's best to head back to my place first. Do you need anything?" Kai flapped his shirt a few times to dry it while saying, "Food and water, I guess. A set of new clothes is good too." "Certainly." The woman signaled the middle-aged man to pick up everything they had prepared. "There are new clothes for you in our car. As for lunch, let me take you to the nearest restaurant." Kai didn't reject her and stood before her, looking into her eyes. He wanted to see what kind of person was known as a genius in politics. Surprisingly, the black-haired girl seemed to be only a few years older than him. She might be at the same age as Tasha in his opinion. However, her eyes truly felt different. Unlike any other pair of eyes he had seen, her sharp and calm eyes actually poked his heart, as if telling him its superiority. Kai obviously didn't accept it and stared with his own pride, showing her that he wasn't someone she could see through. The black-haired girl wore a one-piece white dress, making her look graceful with the contrast of her hair. She took one step back and introduced herself. Nice to meet you, Sir Kai Carter. My name is Marsha Poston. I am the Prime Minister of Sweden. I am not a man who knows a lot about etiquette, so I apologize for my lack of etiquette in advance. I'm Kai Carter. Kai nodded and introduced himself. As much as I want to talk with you, I believe we should go to the car first. I believe you were freezing in here. She extended her hand to the car, asking him to go inside first to change his clothes. The chilling wind brushed their skin. Although they still had a month to go before Christmas, the temperature had indeed gone down. Kai agreed with her and saw that the middle-aged man held his new clothes. Kai grabbed the clothes as they allowed him to change inside the car. Kai took their offer and changed into his new suit. Looking at this white shirt and long brown pants, coupled with the warm sweater, he felt a bit refreshed after the long swim. He then grabbed the towel and rubbed his hair, drying them. After Kai opened the door, the middle-aged man and the woman finally entered the car. The middle-aged man drove them to a nearby restaurant where they all stared into each other's eyes. Seeing his gaze, the man finally introduced himself. My name is Ferhan Shadar, the acting Prime Minister of Sweden. However, knowing that there's someone better than me, I know that I will one day give this position to her, so I am happy to work for her in the meantime. Kai nodded as he didn't care much about their background. He only wanted to know one thing, and it was the sole purpose of this journey. I just want to know whether you can bring down the French Prime Minister. Kai leaked a bit of his killing intent to show them that if they were just bluffing, he would take this matter personally and might do something bad to them. Ferhan gulped down as sweats began to cover his forehead, but Marsha seemed different from a random girl. Instead of flinching, she had a smile on her face as she was excited to see that the conversation had finally gone serious. As expected from the genius of warfare, even your killing intent makes me tremble in fear, said Marsha with a pale face. She then took a deep breath and calmed her heart down before continuing. I can see that you don't like wasting your time, so I will cut to the chase. When do you want him to fall? Ho, a bold claim. Kai narrowed his eyes. It's my confidence. I am not someone who likes to do something meaningless, you know. She then extended her hand and continued. I can bring him down right now if you want. That will be great. But I'm afraid you will face a consequence bigger than you can imagine. Kai shook his head, feeling that there would be a protector hiding behind the Prime Minister. If the French Prime Minister went down, the protector might do something unbelievable. It seems that you know something I don't know. Is there a threat? A physical threat? She managed to discover the problem immediately, amusing Kai. After thinking for a while, Kai replied, Indeed. Just like me, who doesn't know the depth of politics, the battlefield is scarier than you can imagine. The girl didn't feel offended and agreed without hesitation. I see. In that case, I would like to hear everything from you first.
No.
Kai shook his head, not liking things proceeding that way. The girl understood his intention and corrected her words. Then, each of us will ask a question in succession. Sure. You can go first. Kai immediately took that chance without caring about Lady First and asked, I want to know his weaknesses. There are a few scandals that I can open right now to throw him off that seat. Although it's better to explain it back in my place, I will list 3 of them here. Magical beast blood, inhumane research, and biological weapons. Kai squinted his eyes and nodded. I would like to see the details later. Certainly. The girl smiled and asked her question. Then, it's my turn. I want to know the threat. Kai thought for a moment and glanced at the middle-aged man. Don't worry, I can guarantee his identity. The girl nodded. She knew that Kai acted like he trusted her, even though he didn't trust her even a little bit. The reason he started this conversation was to see whether the girl was indeed the true ruler of Sweden. Hence, to prove her identity, the girl suddenly took out her device and showed a few pictures and logs to show her conversation with Arnor and other rank S magicians. Kai contemplated for a moment and finally opened his mouth. You should know the invaders from the sea, right? No wonder. It's going to cause a huge uproar if such a thing indeed backs him up. The girl obviously knew about the creature since they were fighting against them too, even though it wasn't as often as the US base. After a minute, the girl suddenly asked, Suppose I get rid of the Prime Minister, can you guarantee the safety of the citizens? Nope, but I can help you kill it. The girl closed her eyes and let out a long sigh. I see. It's going to be difficult, but the situation is salvageable. I can even frame him. It seems we really need to discuss this later. Kai nodded and glanced at the door of their private room opened by the server bringing the food. Chapter 494, Research. After filling their stomachs, all three of them returned to a mansion an hour from the restaurant. It was a villa the size of a mega mansion facing the sea. Because of Kai's character he had shown since the beginning, Marcia didn't say anything to him this whole time and waited until they returned to the mansion to grab her information. Marcia invited him to her study, where the middle-aged man grabbed the documents. Let's talk about the scandals. I have mentioned 3 of them to you, right? She smiled and opened her device, showing him a few proofs. He could see 3 images from the screen. The left picture appeared to be a laboratory with human skins hanging on the wall as if they were pieces of meat. The middle picture seemed to be in the same building and showed him 3 humans with animal hands. And last but not least, the right one was a picture of tubes filled with red liquid. These 3 are the proofs that can be used to strike him. The middle one is magical beast blood research, like yourself. Marcia abruptly paused after this, looking at Kai's reaction. Kai remained calm and nodded, knowing that his fate might be like this had he failed the transformation. He thought for a moment and asked, "How many people have become like this?" "Nothing goes like your teacher's research, so I assume he has already made a few hundred people like this. They will feel vengeful if you're aiming at them, as they will soon become an army that will destroy the base." "I can see that, albeit I don't think I'm capable of saving them." Kai let out a long sigh. He remembered the previous incident where he killed a failed Zodiac due to Ria's request. He didn't think about it easily and simply fulfilled her request. After a long while, he realized that such a thing wasn't right. His master should have the ability to help them, even if it took a few years. Kai closed his eyes and asked himself, I wondered if teacher actually uses that chance to wait. Did she want their lives? To see Kai suddenly came to a realization of his teacher, but had no way to confirm it. It would be wrong to call her right now, so he wanted to call her after this meeting. There might be a way to save those people. I can do something about them. Ho? Marcia squinted her eyes and said, "Since you can deal with them, I can cover this incident afterward. Though I am sure it's better for me to get something from this research, right? All you will get from me is my fist. I don't know if you dare to take it." Kai's killing intent leaked from his eyes before he retracted it again. "If you think you can get something from something that I fix, then don't think about it. It's impossible." Marcia didn't have a change of expression, as if she'd expected this kind of response. She just wanted to test Kai to see whether he was able to solve this issue or not. Since the latter had given her some assurance, she then negotiated the deal. "How about this? I will be the one sending them to the US government as a way to search for a cure. We will see whether they still want to return here or not after they're cured. That way, you have the possibility of getting benefit while making a good image of yourself, eh?" Kai saw through her with a nod. "Fine. The US base will also get the research data about this, especially my teacher, so I don't think it's a bad deal. And we won't be giving you anything. Yes. It's enough for me. I can strengthen my influence with this." She smiled and pointed at the left picture. "This one is the inhumane research. In fact, all these 3 pictures are related to each other, and we can split them into 3 attacks. Due to the deformity appearing on the first research, they are trying to see whether they can turn the monsters into humans again by using humans' flesh and blood. I don't understand what's the logic behind it, but all I need to see is that it's inhumane and cruel that needs to be punished." Kai agreed with this one. "Do you have the location of this research?" "Not at the moment. We've sent all spies to search for them, but they all died mysteriously. The only one we have is our double agent, but all people inside the research facility can't see nor hear anything to enter the facility, so we don't have someone that can give you the location. Though if you see this half-human, half-monster, I believe they will tell you about the facility. Then, it means I need to attack the Prime Minister." Kai contemplated for a moment. "You'll need to pressure him first." "Of course. Before that, let's continue with the topic. The third one is the chemical that turns them into this. As you know, this chemical is mixed with a magical beast's blood, and they're planning to release it to the outside, turning the world into chaos. I don't understand why he wants it. You just need to know that someone wants humanity to go extinct. Kai shrugged, telling her a part of the mermaid's mission. Marcia could see the complexity of this movement, but she understood that Kai wouldn't say anything regarding this matter. Taking the bad apple out won't solve the problem. It'll just make another one appear. That's why I want a solution that can prevent this kind of research from appearing again. Does this mean the US base wants the monopoly of this technology? Marcia smirked, as if indirectly mocking him. We can reveal to the public that the US base has one too, you know. I wonder what they will think if their greatest genius is the first subject. It won't affect me, but it will surely make people hate my teacher, no matter how hard I defend her. She slightly raised her eyebrows when Kai said it won't affect him. Kai seemed to have another solution to deal with the problem. How about this? I would like future cooperation with the Zodiac Project just like this exchange program. At the same time, we will share the exoskeleton technology. That's not something I can decide. I need to talk with the US base first. Kai shook his head. Besides, I think no matter how good the effect it will bring to humanity, this Zodiac Project won't be accepted by humanity as a whole. After all, it means that you're abandoning humanity too. That's what amused me. Politics surely do have a way, right? Kai smirked, knowing that everything could be solved if they played the card right. The girl closed her eyes and shrugged. She knew there was a way to dilute the information. If they had some desired effect, they could simply choose a few elites like their exoskeleton and turn them into elite soldiers. With the cure that could turn back the people who had been affected, the fatality rate would go down drastically. They might even be able to mitigate the entire fatality rate in the near future. And if they use Kai as the publicity, there would be many people storming the government to become one. In the end, she let out a long sigh and said, "It seems both of us need a break." Chapter 495. Teacher and Student. During the break, Kai decided to take a bath as suggested by Marcia. Even though he was already dry, he by no means had cleaned himself after fighting against magical beasts and swimming across the sea. At the same time, he decided to call his teacher again. "What's up? It's the first time you call me this often." Hearing Ria's voice, Kai couldn't help but smile. "Well, I actually have a question for you, teacher." "Sure. Ask everything. Do you have a cure to turn half-human, half-beast people?" This. Ria fell silent for a moment. "Before answering your question, I want to know the reason you're asking me this question." Kai thought it was fine to let her know, so he began telling her the agreement. However, Ria's focus was actually elsewhere. She simply praised Kai with a weird tone. "As expected of my disciple, you've surpassed me in endurance alone. Congratulations for becoming the first man swimming across the sea." "Ahaha, I want to talk about this with you, teacher, but I am afraid it's not appropriate to talk about it right now." "I understand." Ria paused for another minute and decided to explain. "The explanation returns to the time I asked you to kill the half-human, half-beast. There are two instances. You must remember about the two, right?" "Yes, one was when there was an escape, and you asked me to take the body with me. The other one was when I killed 3 innocent people." Hearing the word innocent, Ria felt guilty because she had asked her student to do something atrocious. She took a deep breath and decided to give him her reasoning. "In the former case, the body was taken to my laboratory for further inspection. And as you already know, she became my lab rat. The body has been properly buried now, just for your information. During the research, I have found the cure. Although it's not perfect right now, I think it's possible to treat those half-human, half-beast creatures. There may be some side effects due to you abandoning your humanity once, but his appearance and genes won't affect the future offspring. That's what I found. And I think your strong blood is one of the cures. That's why if you send them here, I can only make the real cure when you've returned. Of course, if you don't want to heal them, I can simply search for an alternative." Kai was surprised that he was also an ingredient to cure them. He thought for a moment and said, "My teacher is the greatest researcher in the world. She obviously will find a way to cure them without my blood. But time is money. I will give you my blood to cure them. Besides, this is my problem. I'm already shameless enough to ask for your help." "Haha, that's fine. I'm here to help you." Ria chuckled before recalling another thing. "That's right. I heard you accepted a student, no?" "Yes. It's not official yet, but this girl is a genius. She may become the best scientist, surpassing you in the future. Ho ho. You want me to become the number 2 now that you find the number 1 in your heart, eh? No, no. Without your guidance, I'm afraid she can't do anything. But if you start talking to her, I'm sure you will understand why I want her to be my student. I will look forward to our meeting. However, there's one thing I need to suggest in training your disciple. Makes her experience 1,000 deaths. Are you planning to traumatize my student? Kai's eyebrows twitched. I'm sure you know that I don't want to see you for a decade because of that event, right? But that one was more than 10,000 deaths. I am here asking for less than a tenth. I'm sure I won't ask for something big. Raya Ross shook her head helplessly. Well, I know the reason for that training. It's inhumane, but we will see. All right then, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, I have something to ask as well. There's a possibility of a collaboration between the US base and the Union. I wonder if President Brent has an interest. We can slow the curing process to buy enough time to prepare everything. So I think it's a good deal. I see. So you want to go in that direction. Although I don't mind, beast and human can't be fused. Make sure you don't forget about this. Even the blood in your body is 2 separate types. I know that, but I want to add one thing. I have understood my role after this mission, and I want to add one rule. There will be someone with the same ears as me in the future, and he can't have this animal blood inside his body. Kai smiled, knowing that a human king should stay purely as a human, not a hybrid like him. Well, it can be made into a rule, but I doubt the future generations will heed your warning. Hence, I suggest you make a note for future generations instead. You can publish books and articles to warn future generations. With me as the greatest scientist and your student, the wannabe scientist, I think it will give enough convincing power to the future generations. Fair enough. I will do as you suggest. Kai nodded in agreement. That's good. So, how is it going? Tasha seems to have received all your magic power. I can't say much regarding that matter. I just want you to know that you can't defeat me in my current condition, and the magic power in Tasha's body won't affect me. That's a challenge for me, eh? I don't like it. Do you want to have a fight with me? You should remember the absolute rule in our master and disciple relationship. Rule number 1. I, the teacher, am always stronger than my disciple. If I lost against my student, refer back to rule number 1. No matter how you've grown, you are like my dearest child. Kai smiled, feeling happy to know how much she loved him. He already considered her as his godmother in his heart, and his parents already knew about Rhea Ross, so there might be a time that she and his parents accompanied him in his marriage. Anyway, I have understood what you want to ask from the president. I will give you a reply in a few minutes. And don't forget to send the little kid to my place because I want to see her. She will come only a year later. You should be patient. Don't worry. I waited for you for a decade. 1 year is just a blink of an eye to me. Ahaha. Kai scratched the back of his head, feeling that no matter how hard he tried to talk with her, he would be the one losing. It happened every single time. All right. I shouldn't bother you any longer. Just stay safe there, and I am missing you here. I miss you too, teacher. Say hello to the others for me, will you? Sure. Bye-bye. Yep, bye. Kai then finished his bath and changed to a new set of clothes before getting an okay from the president. But due to the complexity of this matter, the president required a few months to finalize the contract. As long as the other party could agree, they didn't mind signing it right away. After getting the reply he wanted, Kai confronted Marcia once again. Chapter 496, Sealing the Deal. After getting the replies, Kai met Marcia again. I hope that you feel refreshed after taking a bath. Marcia smiled. Indeed, the fatigue has gone. Kai nodded in agreement while saying, anyway, the president has agreed to collaborations in the future. However, we would like to know your intention first. Of course, I can send you the contract later, and as long as there's a discussion among us, I believe it can be done. Good. You're negotiating it with him. As for the rest, I can agree with a few conditions. A few conditions. May I know about the conditions? First, I don't want to be tailed, so I hope you don't send any spy to French. Also, what I do needs to be covered up. I will manipulate the media for a while. If possible, I would like to know the exact date of the attack so we can have more preparation. Certainly. I will contact you through Arnaud later. Killing a prime minister is indeed a great sin in front of the law. but I think it's fine as long as someone else kills him, right? Kai smiled. Don't tell me. Kai smiled. Yes, I want to let whoever behind him kill the Prime Minister. That's why I need you to pressure him to the brink. If this can succeed, then I will kill him with my own hand. I understand. Marcia thought for a moment and asked, I'm wondering, why do you feel everything is so easy for you? You never suspect me. There's nothing in this room that can escape my ears. I can sense many cameras and recorders in this mansion, but none of them is in this room. Marcia fell silent, realizing Kai's ears were more amazing than she thought. With those ears, Kai wouldn't be at a disadvantage, considering the ears could also assist him in telling whether one was lying or not. Those ears, I really want to possess them. Trust me, you don't like having these ears. Kai smiled as he recalled how many times he almost died or wanted to commit suicide because of the unbearable ears. Anyway, let's focus on the topic. What is your plan to destroy the Prime Minister? Marcia thought for a moment and raised 3 fingers. There are 3 steps that will succeed within 10 days. First, I will spread the scandals one by one every day, causing a chain reaction from the citizens to lower the Prime Minister's position. After that, I will begin launching my attacks on other union members to stop them from interfering in this fight, while letting him know that no one would help him. In that case, he would have no choice other than to ask for help from the one who supported him. At that moment, you will strike him down along with the other hybrids. I hope you can convince them to get the cure in the US base, because I can safely assume that those people have lost their trust in the Union, and I hope that all of them are under custody, because I don't want to deal with the future threat. Last but not least, the cover-up. Unless you're doing something too big, I can cover up almost everything. Unfortunately for you, the Union will take the credit for all this, including the corpse of the Prime Minister and the one behind him. I can agree to the plans, but I need an assurance that your soldiers won't enter the battlefield. I also want you to make sure whether there's another spy in the Union or not. I understand. I will do a thorough investigation after this. I don't know why, but I feel like you've got all the benefits this whole time. Kai tilted his head in confusion. Should I say, as expected from you? No wonder you're called a prodigy. We're the same. However, both of us are working in a separate line of work, so I am glad that I don't need to fight against you. I'm scared that nothing I've prepared will work against you and your ears. Marcia shrugged. Kai chuckled, rose from his seat, and extended his hand. To show that the two had sealed the deal, Marcia shook Kai's hand with a smile. I'm looking forward to our cooperation. Likewise. After a long discussion, Kai and Marcia had finally agreed with some terms. As one would expect from a genius in politics, she simply didn't budge unless she got a huge benefit from it. But Kai was even more surprised when he noticed Brent knew Marcia. It seemed Marcia's influence was famous among the higher-ups. Kai also agreed to take a rest in their place for 3 days. During his visit, he couldn't go somewhere else because there might be a spy from the French Prime Minister, so he was a bit bored inside the mansion. Hence, Kai mostly trained inside his room if there was no discussion going on. Marcia was curious, but unable to find anything from Kai. Just like the others, she wanted to know the secret to increase the 2 girls' power. Yet, she didn't pursue any further when Kai didn't give her a single chance. After all, she also knew about the organization that tried to get the method. The organization itself wasn't that big and good, but when they realized Kai could actually kill so many people easily, they knew unless they had the entire army, no soldiers, were enough to stop him. In the end, Marcia asked him for a good relationship like Brent, and Kai decided to think about it, knowing Marcia's strength in politics. 3 days later, Marcia took him back to the shore, where he appeared a few days ago. The waves were still raging on, making it a bit scarier to cross. Yet, Kai's expression didn't change, as he already knew what it felt like to cross the ocean by himself. Even Marcia still couldn't believe that a human managed to cross this terrifying sea, where you found so many creatures inside. Even the most amazing submarine wasn't enough to cross the ocean, because other sea creatures would attack them as soon as they sensed them, and Kai, who not only needed to deal with them, but his stamina also decreased to swim. Are you sure you can do this? Marcia asked with a weird expression. It's fine. Kai waved his hand with a calm expression. I have experienced it once. Marcia facepalmed and let out a long sigh. You're simply too weird. There's no way that someone can be all right after swimming across the ocean. Well, It's almost impossible to swim for 3 days. If there's no island between the two lands, I would have thought it's impossible, but I guess you're the miracle itself. I'm just a normal human. Kai shrugged. No matter how many times I cross the ocean, the fatality rate remains the same. Indeed, Marcia then slightly bowed her head to show her respect for Kai doing such a ridiculous thing, especially due to her request. I sincerely hope that you can survive. Kai waved his hand and walked to the edge of the water with a serious expression. Having prepared everything, he gradually submerged into the water with a calm expression, while waving his hand to tell Marcia that everything was going to be all right. After he had enough distance, he started swimming in the water. Marcia kept watching the ocean for an hour after Kai disappeared. In the end, she shook her head helplessly, knowing that Kai was far more amazing than her. He's indeed amazing. Marcia turned around and returned to her car. Meanwhile, Kai continued swimming for a few hours before he reached the previous location, where he asked the eagle to wait. Because it was hard to pinpoint a single coordinate on the sea without a map and GPS, Kai didn't find the eagle immediately. He needed to use his sound blast to go around the sky to check the eagle's position. They had promised that if they couldn't find each other, they would return to the island because Kai would go there to avoid exhausting himself in the sea. Luckily, the eagle and Kai found each other when they both flew in the opposite direction. Seeing the eagle, Kai felt relieved since he would have a ride to go back to Lithuania. Kai waved his hand to the eagle, while the latter let out a cry to show that he saw him. He hugged the eagle first before hopping on top of the eagle as they began their return journey. Chapter 497. Bond. So, how is your day? Asked Kai in a light-hearted tone. After a series of serious discussions with Marcia, he felt tired and simply wanted to talk about something without thinking of any consequences. The eagle didn't know his intention and simply replied with an innocent tone. Everything is good. Thanks to your warning, I've asked all subjects in my territory to migrate to the east. That's good. How many? I am not sure myself, but due to how big my area is, I can only persuade around 10,000 magical beasts. The wolf? He is doing the same by using his subordinates. I'm pretty sure he is doing it better than me. Of course, he is taking care of my son today. Kai laughed when he heard that the ferocious wolf could take care of someone, but seeing how organized they were and how the wolf leader protected his kin, he could see it coming. He thought for a moment and smiled. I guess all of you are going to live. I don't think your destination will be attacked in a few decades due to the supply chain, morale, and soldiers. I don't understand what you said, but I can see that we're going to live a long life. There is only one thing that concerns me. There may be a time where I need to become someone else's subordinate, because I have heard that there's an absolute king around there. Kai crossed his arms and looked down, falling into deep thought. The eagle, on the other hand, had something to ask. When that happened, I wonder if you need someone to help you. What did you say? Kai simply couldn't believe what he heard earlier. He understood what the eagle meant. The latter wanted to help him and became his subordinate. This kind of wish was something he had seen recently. It was when the S-rank bull faced him and the Oni. There were still 3 magical beasts that fought alongside the bull, even though the Oni had ordered them to stop. In other words, the eagle wanted to follow him even if they needed to fight against all odds. This was something unexpected even for him. Unlike those from Emulda Kalan, the eagle desired it from the bottom of his heart, not some sort of obligation. Are you sure about this? Yes. I know that you have an army of humans, but I think I can do something more for you. I can fly like this and look everything from the sky, including the outside range of your hearing. The eagle tried to convince him as if he really wanted to help him. Kai thought for a moment and let out a long sigh. He pinched the bridge of his nose and said with a helpless look, Listen to me. I'm honored to have you follow me, but I don't think I can. May I know the reason? In the human's eyes, all we can see from you guys is simply your ferociousness. Every time we encounter all of you, none of them protect us. No, I should say that all of them attacked us immediately to the point they informed others to help them. That was why when someone sees you together with me, it will be something weird and many will start becoming suspicious. And unlike you guys, my supremacy is not something absolute unless I have enough strength. They may even come knocking on our door to get you to be a lab rat. I'm sure you know about how they're treated in the past. You will either become an animal in the zoo or an experiment subject. If it's the former, you will live in a cage for the rest of your life. If it's the latter, you will experience cruelty until your death. Hence, I can't accept you. The eagle looked down and could feel Kai's genuine concern. Kai didn't reject him, but the warning was enough for the eagle to put down that desire. The eagle fell silent for a moment and said, I understand. I won't ask it anymore. Kai smiled and patted his back. Well, I may need some company when I'm retired. It's not like I'm planning to do everything in my life, since I can understand that humans have brought destruction upon themselves. I can only help them regain their freedom just a little before retiring and staying neutral like any other protector. That's the best thing I can do to maintain the balance of this world. Though, I can have a fun time with my wives, so I don't really mind. Kai chuckled while looking at the eagle with a sad expression. I can respect that. If fate indeed plays out in such a wonderful way, we may meet again in the future. At that time, I hope you haven't retracted your offer yet. Of course. Maybe I should let my kids fly on your back. I'm sure they will like it. Kai chuckled. Haha, maybe in the future, me and my son, you and your children, flying together in the sky. The eagle smiled. Kai and the eagle continued their talks as their relationship grew even further. He had all the supplies he needed during the journey, so Kai didn't need to starve. The eagle also got some food from him while they continued to talk about all kinds of things. Kai wanted to know about his life story, especially how he met his wife. In exchange, he also told him how he met his wife. It was a good and warm atmosphere surrounding them for a few days until they returned to the mainland. The wolf and the eagle's son were playing with each other when Kai and the eagle arrived. Father! The eagle stood up and flapped his wing before turning to Kai. Thank you for everything. Kai observed the eagle's body and saw that the clothes had been removed. The remaining scars were just too shallow and would disappear soon, so he felt relieved. You're welcome. After Kai jumped off his back, the eagle turned to Kai. There is actually something I would like to request, that is, if you don't mind. The eagle suddenly called him again with an unsure tone. He looked a bit hesitant to request it, feeling like the request was too much. Sure, tell me. Kai nodded with a smile, as if saying everything was fine. I wonder if I have the pleasure to know your name. Kai widened his eyes, forgetting the fact that they hadn't even exchanged names. Kai face-palmed and laughed until his body slightly leaned to the back. That's right. I forget that I haven't given you my name. Nice to meet you. My name is Kai Carter. What's your name? I don't have a name. Please name me. Are you sure? Yes. Kai pondered the name for a moment and said, How about Gieth? Gieth. I see. The eagle nodded a few times, confusing Kai. He tilted his head and asked, What? You don't like it? How about Birdie? I am Gieth, Kai Carter's eagle warrior. I shall leave this place for a while and hope that fate shall reunite us again. Kai, the two eagles, and the wolf leader laughed together. In the end, Kai formed a bond with the three of them and decided to name the eagle's son Ruth and the wolf leader Fenrir. After that, Kai had successfully finished his mission since he had driven away tens of thousands of magical beasts from the area with the help of Gieth and Fenris. Chapter 498, Eve of Chaos. The promise got delivered almost immediately. Sophia was watching the news together with Rosalind. They decided to do it because it was blown up to the point everyone started talking about it. We have important news about France's Prime Minister. According to our information, France's Prime Minister is creating illegal and inhumane experiments. We can see there are humans with arms from different species. In one picture, we can see a human having a tiger's paw, while on the other, we can find a human with two bull legs. The cause is still unknown, but according to the experts, there are two possibilities. First, the Prime Minister amputated their limbs before transplanting a new one. Second, their body may have been mutated by transplanting magical beasts' genes inside a human's body. The news showed the picture Marsha showed Kai a few days ago. The citizens erupted in anger when they saw that their own kin couldn't be described as humans anymore. Demonstrations began to occur from one place to another, creating chaos among the Union as well. This, Sophia glanced at Rosalind, speechless. Rosalind nodded with a troubled expression. Yeah, I wonder what Kai is thinking by creating this chaos. I mean, I can see that this can drag the Prime Minister down, but I feel like he will be scrutinized as well if the truth about him being a Zodiac is revealed to the public. If I were the Prime Minister, I would have revealed it and pushed Kai to perform the genetic test. That way, everything would be revealed, and as a result, the US base would also take another great blow. Agreed. And don't tell me that ruler from Sweden actually agreed to Kai's request, because she could take down both the Prime Minister and the US base at the same time. Sophia narrowed her eyes. I am not sure. Kai should also expect something like this if I can think about such a plan. Rosalind narrowed her eyes in confusion. Oi, don't look down on yourself too much. Sophia sighed before her expression turned serious. But yeah, I can agree with you. Kai may face a certain backlash as well in doing this, unless he has another trump card to get away from it. Even so, are you sure you can handle it? Rosalind asked with a worried expression. Sophia smiled without hesitation. Of course, that guy has been challenging something far bigger than the three bases combined. If I am afraid of getting shunned by those citizens, I won't get too close to him. It's ironic, isn't it? What's ironic? The fact that the citizens are not aware of the hidden enemies that want to eliminate humanity, and how Kai has been fighting against them this whole time. Sophia closed her eyes and let out a long sigh. His power also comes from the magical beast. Agreed. They're talking about morals, but when death comes to their doorstep, they will ask for such power. Humanity is a hypocrite, I do too. Rosalind smiled. But at least, I won't go telling other people about how they hate those who have abandoned their humanity. Instead of talking about that, I need to tell you a message Kai gave me yesterday. Rosalind's eyebrows raised as she was surprised by the sudden message. What is his message? Does he need help? You're asking the last thing he needs. Sophia shook her head helplessly and showed the message. He wants us not to do anything for a few days, until his signal, no matter how terrible what will come next is. What kind of thing will happen after this? Rosalind drew a gasp and remembered the kids from the orphanage. I think I should go to the orphanage. Although the security has been tightened around there, I'm afraid they're a perfect target to aim for. Kai only said to stand by, so I believed he didn't care where we stayed. In other words, we can stay inside the orphanage. Sophia looked down with a sad expression. Unfortunately, I can't go with you because I need to go with my family. The other instruction is to have us working together before making our move. That's why if we get the signal, we will meet up first. I understand, Rosalind smiled. Don't worry about me. Besides, I believe there's something bigger than what the public can see. A genius in politics joins hands with a genius in warfare. Don't you think this kind of strategy is too ordinary? Oh? Interesting. Sophia agreed with her and smiled. I think this is just a normal storm. There will be a bigger one coming right behind, and it will appear in a few days. If I'm not wrong, Kai will also return from his mission in a few days. Yes. All we need to do is to prepare for whatever comes next. Rosalind nodded before Sophia felt the vibration from her device. She quickly opened it and saw Kai's message. There's a possibility that those half-human, half-beast people will come after you too. The Prime Minister may utilize them to create chaos and weaken my side before taking control of everything by force and placing the blame on someone else. I will keep pressuring him right now, so you need to be very careful. A protector may also come for your life. Hence, I want you to be together, not only for the task, but for everything. I know that your power has exceeded that of S-rank magician, but I still feel it hard for both of you to take on a single protector alone. Sophia fell silent when she read the message before showing it to Rosalind, resulting in the same silence. They both stared at each other until Sophia broke the silence. Those people? Why? I am not sure. The Prime Minister may have something in his repertoire that can control them. That alone is enough to control them. I don't know their numbers, but there's a possibility it surpasses my expectation. So we indeed need to face tens of failed Zodiacs. On top of that, the Protector may come for us, making the situation even more complicated. I assume this Protector is the one behind the Prime Minister. Yeah, we may be able to buy time for one Protector even if we can't defeat him. But if we include tens of failed Zodiacs into the calculation, I'm afraid it's too much for us to handle. I guess I will be with you in the orphanage. Sophia agreed without hesitation. Yes, ask Arnaud for the school permission. I will also inform my grandfather about this, telling him to increase the security since anyone can be attacked right now. Luckily, Felice is not in France since she follows Madame Rena back. Yeah, that's a relief. Anyway, should we kill those people or convince them? Sophia narrowed her eyes and decided to ask Kai about it. The reply came in an instant as Kai told them to convince them. However, if they tried to attack them, they could restrain them. Only if the situation turned worse would they have permission to kill them. He would handle the rest. That's it. I wonder what his real plan is. Yeah. Like they suspected, Kai had a secret plan devised by both he and Marcia. It had even gotten approval from the president of the US base, elevating the scale of the entire plan. And everything would be resolved within a few days. Chapter 499. Kurdzer Bang. A thunderous sound echoed inside the room. Unfortunately, only 2 people were able to hear it in this soundproof room. The one who slammed the table, France's Prime Minister, Oliver Giscard, and a squid that was able to sit like a normal human. The squid had red skin and used 2 of its tentacles as if they were human legs, while the rest acted as its hands. That beat Teach! Oliver gnashed his teeth. Veins bulged on his forehead, and his eyes were wide open, as if they could fall out at any minute. His heart beat rapidly, until he could hear the sound in his eardrums, resonating within his organs. His face looked like he wanted to say something, but it was so red that it made such a thing not possible. Oliver simply fell silent with his hands on the table, clutching it as though he wanted to rip it apart. Instead of Oliver, the squid was the one breaking the silence. I have told you not to underestimate Kai Carter. Do you think she is going to make any move if there's no outside force? He must be the one pulling all the strings. That's impossible. He has gone to Lithuania, and his women have been stopped inside the base. There's no way to contact her and convince her to do this type of thing. There's no way that Witch will play with fire for no reason. Oliver refused to believe that Kai was involved in this. After all, the moment his first attempt to kill Kai failed, he started making Kai busy, forcing him to take missions. He also made sure to tighten the security around to prevent Kai from going around to meet Marcia. That was why he was confused as to why Marcia decided to take action. There must be something going on. There are 3 S-rank magicians in this base. Brenna Alberona has gone back to her home without getting involved in any of this. Jules Campbell is also occupied by the Red Ghost organization that kidnapped their maid. Only Arnaud has been sniffing around. Even so, I know the capability of that man. He is not enough to move that witch. As I said, you're underestimating Kai Carter. We have been suffering many losses every time we fought against him. You're the one overestimating Kai Carter. How do you think he can even get in contact with that witch? A mere phone call is not enough for something like this. What if it's enough? He shrugged. I can say it again and again. Whenever something big is going on, Kai Carter is the culprit. That's the decision of the Sea Council. You're overestimating him. Oliver slammed the table again and glared at the squid. Do you think he is some sort of god that can do everything? The squid fell silent, even though he was fuming in anger inside. Due to the restriction, he couldn't say anything regarding Kai's identity as human race protector, so he couldn't explain to him that humanity had been underestimating Kai Carter the whole time. After all, it was the same as underestimating their own absolute king. It was already a capital offense, and they were to be executed if such a thing happened. Unfortunately, humanity was too foolish and prideful, making them unable to see the truth before their eyes. No, they might have seen the truth, but they just refused to believe it. That's all I want to say. Kai Carter is the culprit, and my point still stands even if you don't want to believe it. Oliver gritted his teeth and took a deep breath, trying to find a reason to rebuke him again. However, the squid already stated, "Human Oliver, I think you do not understand your position here. We've agreed to make you one of us and save you from humanity's doom. If I say Kai Carter is the culprit, you're going to believe it even if you hate it, understand?" Oliver obviously didn't like such a thing. He thought he could control humanity and made them under him. He would rule humanity under these sea people before rising through the ranks, allowing them to see that placing him on the bottom rank was wrong. Unfortunately, the squid didn't see it that way. He had fed up with Oliver's adamant attitude and ordered him to stop. Now, I want you to send those people to hit those two women because I will be moving as well. This is the only way to take advantage of the chaos and kill those important to him. We will kill Kai Carter right now, the squid commanded, as he remembered how his two friends who had been with him during their stay in the EU base were killed by Kai Carter and two women. He wanted to avenge his fallen friends by killing those who he held dear. They haven't gotten any antidote yet, so they will follow your order now. They are just ungrateful pricks who can't even appreciate all the things I've done to them. They haven't realized that humanity is doomed, and they should start adapting to their life right away. Utter fools. Oliver gritted his teeth. Then why don't you become one as well? If I were to become one, do you think who can you convince to help you? No one is as capable as me. There's still that woman. You don't understand her. You will only get surrounded by thousands of soldiers the moment you contact her. Oliver thought for a moment and said, Wait for 3 days. I will take care of the media first before you can start your plan. If you think you can do anything here, you're underestimating humanity too much. Humanity is just a piece of stew to me. The squid snorted. I, Kurtzer, am the proud warrior of the Sea Council. I can kill thousands of your soldiers and remain unharmed. Even your S-rank magicians won't be able to fight me. But you're scared of that little bastard, Kai Carter. Who said, I'm afraid? The only capable human is him. It's easy for us to deem him as dangerous. Kurtzer harumphed, realizing there were already several fighters like himself who had died at Kai's hand. My strength is fifth among the council. My power is beyond your understanding. It doesn't change the fact that you can only utilize a percentage of your power on land. The land will soon be replaced by water. You will believe me when it happens right in front of your eyes after we conquer humanity. You'll realize that my king's power is something that you want to avoid at all costs. Without wasting his time, the squid decided to rise from the seat and turn around, heading to the door. Before opening the door, he said, Remember, you have 3 days. I will kill both women during the night. Oliver gritted his teeth and saw Kurtzer leaving the room. He really wanted to beat that guy up, but he knew how powerful he was. If not for their cooperation, he would have died long ago. At the same time, the one that told him about Zodiac's secret was Kurtzer. He only didn't have the right formula to create an army of Zodiacs, since his approach was different from Rhea Ross's formula that was only capable of creating a few elites. His approach was to turn every single humanity to the perfect Zodiacs, abandoning their humanity as a whole and evolving to another level. In order to do that, he needed to convince the media and the citizens first, before using force to make them obedient. There was also a certain medicine that could slow down the transformation process, and those who didn't want to turn into a complete one yet would follow his order just to gain the medicine. He crossed his arms and fell into deep thought. I really need to eliminate that witch, because she will be a thorn in my side. Kai Carter won't be back for a while, so I can help Kurtzer kill the 2 women before killing that witch. After that, no one in the Union will be able to stop me. If they dare, I will simply kill them too. This is the only salvation for humanity. Little did he know, he had been playing right on Kai and Marsha's palm, as Marsha had finally left Sweden during that chaos and headed straight to the Union headquarters to proceed to the last stage. Chapter 500. Debate. Meanwhile, in the Union headquarters, specifically inside their meeting room, 8 people assembled behind the round table, sitting on their chairs with an uncomfortable expression. All of them already knew what happened the moment they saw the news. Marsha and Oliver had been fighting against each other in the Union as the 2 strongest political parties. The fact that Marsha decided to make a move must mean she had some assurance she would win. That was why when Marsha invited them for an emergency meeting in the headquarters, all Union members, aka national leaders, hurriedly emptied their schedule and rushed here. Everyone except the concerned party, Oliver. Bang! The sound of the door slammed open resounded in their ears as Marsha walked inside the room with a long black dress. She tied her hair into a ponytail and wore silk glove arms. Her expression was cold and aloof as she walked gracefully to her seat. Marsha always sent the old man to attend this, since the latter was the official prime minister. but the fact that she came here just gave a more powerful impact on them because every single one of them knew that whatever she wanted to discuss here would decide the fate of the EU base. After taking her seat, she politely smiled at them as a greeting. I am thankful that everyone has made their time for me. Enough, Marcia. With you coming here instead of that old man just shows how grave the situation is. You have started the war with Oliver, and now what do you want from us? I know that some of you are on his side, but I'm sure that I can convince you today. Marcia smiled and continued, there's something you need to know before that. First of all, do you know anything about the war happening in the US base? War? Their expression turned grave as one of them said, do you mean the mutated monster? No, should I say, another intelligent race besides the human race. Marcia nodded calmly. Exactly. They're the ones behind Oliver. What? Everyone dropped their jaws to the ground, not believing what they heard. Normally, people thought they needed to welcome other intelligent races because they might be able to coexist with them. But the political leaders had their own information network. Hence, all of them knew that this intelligent race was actually a threat to their lives. All of them had their own contact with those people, only to find all their subordinates were annihilated like a pig. Just like if an alien race attacked them and showed no intention in negotiation, they would choose to fight against them. With this kind of information and experience in their mind, they all realized how grave the situation had truly become. Still, as one would expect from Oliver, his connection was too deep, as they couldn't waver with a simple statement. One of his supporters said, I don't believe it. You need to show us proof first. Of course. Marcia smiled and took out her device before showing them a few pictures. The pictures turned out to be the two corpses that Kai, Sophia, and Rosalind killed. Kai realized how strong Marcia was due to these pictures. She already had a suspicion when Oliver wanted to send Kai and the two girls to a specific place, so she investigated it with the help of Arnaud. As soon as she knew about the potential of two protectors, she quickly imposed an information lockdown, preventing anyone from this place from knowing about the protectors. Since Kai would benefit from this, and it was also a part of Kai's plan, Arnaud agreed to cooperate with Marcia and sent everything related to the protectors to her, instead of the Union. In other words, before they even thought about striking Oliver, the plan was already in motion. From that moment, Kai understood why Marcia was known as a genius in politics. These pictures were taken a few weeks ago in Latvia. Surprisingly, there were two of them hiding, waiting for Kai Carter and the two girls to arrive. I'm sure you already realize what's going on, right? Before saying anything, I have confirmed that the enemies have someone inside this damn base. I don't need to spell it for you, right? She made an evil smirk. You! The man gritted his teeth as his forehead started getting covered with sweat. This is not a negotiation anymore. This is a threat. All Oliver's supporters knew exactly what she wanted by showing these pictures. With Marcia's information network, it was easy for them to get the connection between them and Oliver. Once Oliver was judged by the public as someone evil without having the ability to explain himself anymore, they would be dragged down as well. In other words, not only would their political careers end, but their entire lives would be filled with condemnation. Marcia only needed to send those things in public, removing half-union members in an instant. The man closed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and took a deep breath, calming his heart down. He asked with a frown, "What do you want us to do?" "No, I want to know why you do all this." Marcia shrugged and raised both hands. "I think you already know the answer. Kai Carter." The man slammed the table and looked away. "That's right. Why? What does he have to convince you to do this? Even if he is a god of war, I am not convinced that a person like him can convince you. Politics is enough to end his entire career." Marcia waved her hand as if asking him to stop talking. She shook her head helplessly and stated with a serious expression, "You're underestimating me. God of war is all it takes for me to agree. Let us take another look at the battle between politics and martial might, shall we? First of all, politics is just a matter of public opinion. We can simply turn everything into chaos with a single order. There's no way that someone can lead a coup d'etat in this present day, because it's impossible for someone to rally tens of thousands of soldiers at once. However, God of War is different. Let me ask you something. What organization do you think unites the entire world and brings world peace?" She smiled. No one answered. After waiting for a few seconds, she continued, "Nothing. Peace is just preparation for the next war. This is what I always believe. After all, when peace comes, all nations will start developing their technology to prepare for the next war that may start from other countries. In the past, we had the UN, and even then, they were still not enough to unite the entire world. And in the present day, we only have 3 bases. There's nothing that oversees us. That's where this one is coming from. The only one that can unite us together is a common enemy. It's ironic, but history has taught us. During World War I, the Allies appeared because they had a common enemy. The same applies to World War II. Do you think the Soviet Union and the United States would become an ally if Nazi Germany didn't threaten them?" The man gritted his teeth and shouted back, "Why are you saying something like this? Do you think Kai Carter alone can do something like that?" "Yes, I believe it with every single cell of my body." Marcia widened her eyes and showed a kind of stare that invited no rebuttal. Just like killing intent, her gaze sent chills down one's spine. That gaze felt like it was able to see through the future of one statement. All of them shuddered, as they couldn't believe Kai Carter was worth 3 bases. Even if he was stronger than S-rank magician, they could simply start suppressing him by using the media before sending tens of thousands of soldiers at him. Along with S-rank magicians, they should be able to win. Yet, Marcia completely believed that it wasn't enough to defeat Kai Carter. "I believe that Kai Carter is enough to shake the entire world. Once he becomes an enemy and joins hands with those people from the sea, I'm afraid humanity will perish." Marcia took a deep breath. "I will say it again. I believe it with every single cell of my body.